We gonna sideways hat on the eyes? Or nah? Brother, I think we are live. We're gonna go no hat for right now.
Uh,
I get beamed up. Y'all. What's the word, brother?
what's good, man? Back
Oh,
at it. And welcome back to another edition of the Gym Bag, episode 3, college football edition. Um, well, basically, we've been doing these live streams every Monday or Tuesday.
yeah.
Um, Trying to be as consistent as possible. This is gonna be an all college football day, even though we talk about a lot of different sports, but about a month away from the college football season. So, what better time than to dig in on the season? Um,
Yeah, man.
been
Like you
about
said, college football's around
yeah.
the corner. Excited to do this episode. Let's get this money. Let's do it.
For sure. It's been about college football season start late August, early September, so it'll be about 7.5 months roughly since the national championship game. Along 7.5 months if you're a big college football fan. No NFL, NBA was what it was this year. And I guess it's baseball season now, but really waiting on the college football season to come back around. Nothing like a college football Saturday.
Nothing like it.
And yeah, man. Let me see
Uh,
where we want to start at.
I think.
Um,
But while he's looking that up, I think we're gonna kick off, and I could be wrong, but I think we're gonna kick off the college football season August 29th, UNC versus TCU, which would be pretty interesting because if I'm gonna just make one of my first predictions for the college football season, I think Bill Self is out the door after this season. I've been seeing a lot of things as
oh, you
far
saw
as
Bill Belichick.
Bill. Who I say Bill Self?
Bill Self,
Oh,
yeah.
Bill Belichick. I apologize. I'm on KU. I'm on KU high right now. But Bill Belichick and his staff, a lot of recruits are saying like in their visits, UNC almost is approaching it. And I think if you guys watch Josh Pate, have been saying how the UNC staff is almost treating these recruits as if they're doing the recruits a favor to be here, not that they're trying to recruit them to come here. Holding on to that 33rd NFL team motto. So I think we're starting off the college football season with that. Before he just get right into it, I just want to throw that out there. We might be seeing the end of Bill Belichick. Probably similar to James Franklin, how by Halloween we seen him out the door. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't that game in like Ireland or something?
It's at 11 o'clock in the morning, so I'm sure it's somewhere like
I think it's in Dublin.
outside.
Yeah,
Let's see. You could be right though. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
it's in
that's
Dublin.
Dublin. Yep.
Yeah.
Cause last year was a K State and Iowa State maybe, and that's when Dylan Edwards got that injury after he muffed the punt and never ran the ball again on that
Oh, that's
spot.
when they was fighting after the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what Cub folks. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
local. Yeah. All right, let's go.
yeah, yeah. Anyway,
On you.
yeah. Now we get sidetracked. Well, we
Yeah.
coming to you live from the dungeons of Gym Bag Inc.
Oh
And
goddamn.
we running a high tech operation over here, so
Yo.
bear with us with any technical difficulties, but we don't foresee any of that. So let's get right into it. Before we get into all these college football topics, I think the best thing to do is to go over what are some college game day essentials for your Saturday, food related.
Who related?
What yeah, what you gotta have to watch your college football.
I'm a big fruit guy, so like I like grapes. I like it's weird. So when I'm watching football and basketball games, I like finger food, fruit edition. So anything I can pick up and eat real quick. So I gotta have my fruit. I gotta go for my morning run because I gotta feel like if I'm gonna be sitting down on the couch for the next few hours, that I gotta get my steps in. And before that, I feel like I gotta have a good breakfast because I'm not a good breakfast person. And if I know I'm sitting down stationary for a long time, I need something that's gonna sit on that stomach for a little bit. So really, man, just a good morning breakfast that include a lot of fruit, and I'm low key, I'm solid. What about
Good
you?
for
What you got
sure.
going?
Same shit. I like definitely some fruit. I'm not really a heavy breakfast eater. I love breakfast food. I don't like eating in the morning though,
Nah, yeah,
if
for
that
sure.
makes sense.
Nah, for sure.
Uh, I don't know, man. Snacks definitely. Probably some candy.
I think too,
Uh,
it depends on like how hard, Diddy, we come in like to start that Saturday off. Is the cracking games at the back half?
yeah,
Is,
facts,
is the game I'm trying to watch in the morning? Because if the
facts.
game is in the back half, then I might kind of switch up the program a little bit. We into
Yeah,
flag football. I might get some flag football cracking before the game if it runs.
yeah,
I might be a little bit more active as far as getting out the house. But if it's in the morning,
yeah.
I'm pretty strict on like not doing nothing. Like
Yeah,
it's
if I'm like emotionally invested in the
yeah,
game, I'm probably not eating too heavy in the morning or trying to do too much. You know, it's especially during college football season, it seems like it's always something you got to get done on that Saturday. So it's
And
nothing better. It's nothing better than to just clear the books for Saturdays and it
yo,
just had a slate open. You know what I mean? So.
get that schedule as
Um,
clear as possible.
and before we get even into the topics again, why college football is important to us, and
Yeah,
we like other sports, basketball, NBA, college basketball, but just college sports in general, why they are important, at least to me. And I'm sure you agree with some of this too. Is
yeah,
I'm always been big on the tradition of college sports and the pageantry, the overall unpredictability and chaotic nature of college sports is different than the professional leagues.
for
Um,
sure.
I guess you could look at collegiate sports as professional leagues now, but we'll get into all that later. But definitely just a different feel, and definitely the tribalism of college sports as well.
Yeah,
The fan bases really stand on 10 for what they believe in. It's not as much team hopping, I would say. You usually pick a school and you rock with them through and through. And
yeah.
that's really what we love about college sports. And like I said, you really can't beat Saturdays when college sports is on. So
Nah, yeah.
definitely.
I think that said perfectly, bro. I feel like that's one of the biggest separators from like collegiate sports and professional sports is the tribalism. I've been to a few NBA games, and depending on where you're going, obviously you know who the home team is, but popularity I feel like almost oversees like who you're rooting for. You can go to a Lakers game and see Oklahoma City Thunder jerseys, Boston Celtics
Yeah.
jerseys, Indiana Pacers jerseys. Not that you won't see that at collegiate events, but a lot more likely that you're gonna see some if you at Nebraska, that big N. If you're in
Yeah.
Michigan, you're gonna see that M a lot more than outlier
Yeah.
teams. So yeah, man, the tribalism is definitely there. You're a Michigan guy, so you got some emotional games
Yeah.
that you know every year, no matter how the
Yeah.
season is going, no matter what the roster look like. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for this. I'm already looking forward to this game. In your
Yeah.
sense, is Ohio State. It's kind of, and you're a Michigan guy, so let these people know kind of how you got invested into being a Michigan guy, what that rivalry means to you, maybe some players that you're like emotionally invested in, even if they are no longer Michigan guys. Like I remember, what's that corner for Sammy? No, something Sandstrom, something.
Oh, Mike Sandstrom.
Mike Sandstrom. I remember you was on
Yeah.
him. You probably been the first
Yeah.
person I heard talk about him, and this was
Bro.
like before he was him. You know what I'm saying? Before he was even
Some
him
years
in
ago.
Michigan Blue. So
Yeah.
speak on that, man. You and your Michigan. How did that come about?
Uh, before we even start that, like you saying, like how when you go to NBA games, you see a bunch of different teams. When it comes to college sports, you it's in your best interest not to get caught out of bounds with the
Yeah,
wrong colors on. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So you better off, rocking who you there for, or,
for
like Ohio State. You're not wearing an Ohio State uniform or whatever to no Michigan game unless you there for Ohio State. But it's not just gonna be
right.
no random situation.
Yeah, you
But
play.
yeah. But how I got into being a Michigan fan is well over what, probably about 15 years ago, about 15 years so years ago. Michigan basketball, watching John Beeline, head coach, Trey Burke, point guard. That team was pretty loaded. They had Mitch McGary, Nick Stauskas, Karis LeVert. He's still in the NBA. Glenn Robinson III, son of a legend. So a lot of
Right.
good players on that Michigan team. And then of course the football team, they had Denard Robinson back then, Devin Gardner following. Um, a lot of great players. And again, just the tradition. Once I seen that first Michigan Ohio State game, I seen how much they hated each other, and really wanted to.
Excuse me.
Obviously, Michigan wasn't on the winning end of a lot of those football games, but
Right.
you still have to respect the tradition and the rivalry and just the overall competitive nature of what was going on. So that's pretty much how I got into it, and then it's really no turning back. I can't really switch up now. There's been no
Right.
turning back. And we got us a championship a couple years ago. They trying to say we cheated and whatnot, but hey, I'll take it. So that's pretty much how I got into that. But
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't want
that's
to get too
probably
off track, but
yeah,
I just want to let
go
people know
ahead.
that you are a Michigan guy through and through. So throughout the season, I mean, even if you got if you're an Ohio State person watching this podcast, let Cuz know. You know what I'm saying? Let them know where you at. So when the time comes, one thing I can't stand personally is bandwagon fans.
Yeah,
Don't come chirping to me mid-season, and I ain't heard you say nothing
yeah,
about this squad, this player, because then
yeah,
it's in one ear out the other. It's not even respected chirping. So I didn't mean to get too off track, but yeah.
That's the fun of college sports, though. You stay down with them, and then when they come up, you up with them.
Oh,
So but you stay with a team long enough, man. They gonna have you
yeah.
on the they gonna have you on to throw the whole sport away.
Yeah.
Because it been some down days as a Michigan fan. It been some
Oh,
down days,
oh,
and
I heard.
y'all let me know about it.
Oh, goddamn.
For sure. But getting right into it, I think the first thing we should start off with just a quick overview of just the overall landscape of college football. A
Yeah.
lot of moving parts.
Mhm.
A lot of changes within this new NIL structure. Obviously the transfer portal is a big topic, and just a lot of moving parts.
Yep.
I think basically, to not be so long-winded, the sport is moving in the right direction, and I say that because even though there are some negative things people can point out, I think over time, or not even over time, over the course of, I would say probably the last decade, things have gotten to a point to where people, and I think everybody can agree, people know that something needs to change for the better. Even though, like I said, it looks to be going in the right direction. I say that because I feel like we're heading towards a change. We're heading towards more guardrails, more safeguards for certain things not to happen. You hate to see players transfer, get these NIL deals, and then end up having to sue the school or vice versa, or get
Yeah.
stuck into these contracts. That's why I said earlier, it's not really as amateur of a sport anymore. It's pretty much like a professional sport, and it's really a business disguised as a sport, like a lot of other businesses are, like the NFL, the NBA. They are sports, but they're really businesses disguised as a sport, because it's really
Yeah.
about the money, and the people pulling the strings are making the decisions that best suit them and their bottom line. So a
Mhm.
lot of things going on, not just in college football, but college basketball. I know you got a lot of things you want to speak on with the new laws coming in and whatnot, and
Sure.
we'll get deeper into that later into this live. But
Sure.
overall, what are some things that stand out to you when it comes to just the overall overview of college sports, and some things that you are a fan of, and some things that you don't really agree with?
For sure. I think in college football, and I could be with the minority here. I'm a big fan of the new college playoff expansion. I get that. Now, I do believe that I don't want to get to a point where there's 20 teams. I honestly think 12 is the perfect number. Outside of the NFL, this isn't 32 teams. This is over 100 plus schools. So I think we need to. I think it was a good idea to take it from 4 to 12, just because I really didn't like in college football, even though I love the sport, that these are kids at the end of the day, 18, 19, 20 years old, and they have bad days. And if you got a bad day as a collective unit in October, your season is essentially done for the rest of the year, especially if you're one of those schools that have big expectations going into it. I mean, you look at Penn State and how they fired James Franklin by Halloween because of 2 bad plays. Sure, they were, big games that you lose, but you're a few plays away from beating Oregon in their whiteout game. You're a few plays from this game swinging, and you still got a job right now at Penn State. Rocco Beck might not be the quarterback at Penn State right now. James Franklin changes a few things, or players are just more locked in. If Drew Allen was the quarterback, did he get hurt? Like he got hurt. I want to say the first few weeks. So little things like that you don't have control over can definitely affect your season. So I do like how they expanded the playoff to almost increase the margin of error, because these aren't professionals. As much as they're getting paid, this isn't the NFL. This isn't the NBA. So I think we need to be more open to. We're going to see more mistakes at this level because they're still learning at the end of the day. So I do like that the college playoff expanded just from the college football point of it. I heard the college basketball is also rumored to expand their college tournament. That one I don't think I'm the biggest fan of, because we already got 60 plus schools in. I think at that point you're just trying to force the Cinderella story, because the more teams you add, the more likely you can get knocked off by like a sleeper team or whatever the case may be mathematically. So that's one thing that stands out to me the most, just college football specifically. I really like how they expanded the college playoff. And another thing that kind of plays into that, the parity of the sport, I feel like now is going to change. Indiana can win a national championship right now over the span of just one offseason or 2 offseasons with a new head coach. Oklahoma State can get all this NIL money and bring the best coaches and players from North Texas. And now in a conference like the Big 12 that might kind of have fallen off, some may say, you could go straight to the Big 12 conference and be at the top of that conference, and that alone could get you in the conversation of having a playoff spot. And these are teams that are coming off of 1-2 wins, not even 2 years prior. Similar to Colorado, you hire Coach Prime because you can afford him and can bring in Travis Hunter. We go from winning one game to selling out every home game before the season starts, and in 2 years we got an 8-win season. So I really like how just the expansion of the sport allows for parity. Now, if you're a good team, I don't necessarily mean that like you can go from the top to the bottom more often. I just think that now it's more room at the top. The college playoff is now 12 teams, so we can have 8 really good teams and that'd be okay. We can have 10 really good teams and that'd be okay. In the sense of last year, Texas missed out on the college playoff because their argument, and we talked about it in our previous live, was the strength of schedule. Well, if you expand it 2 more times, as far as opening 2 more roster spots, I think we're going to see less of teams like the SEC hanging on the history to get into the door. You got to show me what you can do right now. Just because you're top 10 in revenue and tickets sold, Texas, if you lose too many games, or Notre Dame, if you lose to Miami week 1, that could be the reason why you don't make it. And we see Miami go to the national championship, and they were one of the last teams to make it. So I think more than ever and more than any other sport in college football, as a fan, you have a lot more to hang on to as you go into the season due to the more shots, the more teams that are able to win it or make it to the big dance, that being the college football playoff. What about you? If I sound buzzed, I just got over a cold, so I kind of.
No, you're all good. You're all good, bro.
What about you?
Things, even a few things like you said, them expanding the college basketball tournament, to push the Cinderella narrative. I think that all come down to money. I think that's just more opportunities to make money, more tickets to be sold.
Yeah.
More games and stuff like that. And as far as the parity, I had something like that wrote down. Just it being really no unbeatable teams. It used to be. You go back and you look at like a 2010, 2011 Alabama team, that roster was pretty much untouchable. You look at certain rosters over the course of history, and then even if you look at the number 5 team, and then from the number 1 team, the drop off used to be insane. Even though that number 5 team was nice, the number 1 team was full of NFL talent. First string, second string, third string. Yes. So really just a lot more parity, like you said, and just the ability to not be able to stack talent and those players to be able to transfer, and whether they go get paid or not, just to be able to transfer and go and play and bolster up some of these other schools. It really adds to the depth of the sport, and it increases the fan activity. Like you said, if you schedule a hard October, or if you schedule a hard September,
or October,
you could be out of the playoffs quick. Especially like in the old BCS model where it was the top 2 teams who make the championship. But when it was a 4-team playoff, if you lose 2 games in the first month, it's over with for you.
It don't matter who you got after that. It don't matter what you do in these next 9.
Your margin of victory.
You're not even
it's over with. It's over with. So I think that really helps the sport. It keeps a lot of fan bases engaged longer into the season. More fan bases thinking that they have a chance, even if they don't. But it keeps them from knowing that like we're already out of it. So it really helps in that regard. So definitely agree with a parity standpoint. Let me see. What's a sneaky national championship pick for you this year? A team that might not be getting the favorite label, but what's a sneaky team for you?
So I mentioned Oklahoma State not too long ago, and I want to Oklahoma State. Now, I don't think they can necessarily win the whole thing, but if you would have told me Indiana was going to win it a year before it happened, who knows? So we keep speaking on the parity of it, but I think Oklahoma State definitely made steps in the right direction more than a lot of teams in a sense of just like the turnover. I think, and don't quote me on this, but I know they brought in around 60 to 70 new players, and somewhere in between that number, 60 to 70 new players, which the transfer portal is something I also like about this new regime in college football and just collegiate sports. You're able to turn over a roster that quick. This isn't the NFL where you have free agencies and trades mid-season. So the transfer portal kind of allows you to do all the dirty work in a sense before the season, and now we're seeing with this new rule that we'll talk about during the season. You know what I'm saying? So I like Oklahoma State, and not to get too deep into it because we'll get deep into it, later in the season or as we get closer to the season. But Drew Messmaker is a quarterback that I feel like really made a lot of noise at North Texas last year. I can't think of that running back's name, but he's really good. And I think in the conference of the Big 12, where this isn't like the SEC or now the Big 10, where we got Michigan, Ohio State, we got Alabama, Texas, and then kind of, the Big 12, I feel like, is one of those conferences where it gets flipped upside down every year. One year you got Baylor on top being the best team, then you got K-State, then you got Arizona, then you got Iowa State. So I think in an open division like the Big 12 and a team like Oklahoma State that made as many changes as they did in the right direction, new head coach, they got all the important positions correct. They bring in 2 wide receivers who nearly capped at 1,000 yards last year. In the Big 12, where points is kind of the motive. Defense is kind of a back burner thought. I think Oklahoma State has the offense to compete with anybody in the Big 12. And if you win your conference in this day and age, you got a really good shot at going to the playoffs. And like I just mentioned, Miami.
I think about a coach like Lincoln Riley with USC. I feel like they got a nice, pretty good defense. Jaden Ive at quarterback another year in Lincoln Riley's system. I feel like defense really has been Lincoln Riley's Achilles heel. He's obviously an offensive coach, and he's been having a hard time getting that together. But I could see them, making some noise. Even a team like Oklahoma. I've always been a Brent Venables guy. Great defensive coach. Oklahoma's defense is pretty tough, and then they got John Mateer coming back at quarterback. So maybe not the weapons they had.
Is what I'm getting at. But if they don't win games early, how we just mentioned, even though the college football does allow more teams, if USC, starts off slow, I think we can see some changes. I mean, I keep bringing up James Franklin and Penn State, but who would have thought James Franklin was going in the first 2 months of college football last year? And that's a guy who you could almost pencil in for a playoff spot. So moving on, but yeah, man, I think Lincoln Riley, if the hot seat is a real thing, he's definitely got a spot there for sure.
Speaking about coaches who haven't got it done yet, I think of teams like Texas with Steve Sarkisian, Oregon with Dan Lanning, and even Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman. Those are coaches who have had success, who are always in the thick of it, around the end of the season, but they haven't necessarily broken through yet. They've been on the brink, but they haven't broken through yet. The expectations were pretty moderate, but now having the roster that they have, CJ Carr, quarterback, who's by all accounts leading the early Heisman predictions, I feel like if he had to at least make the playoffs and make a deep run into it. So I don't know. Those are some coaches I feel like have been on the brink, but definitely everybody can't win it. But one of those 3, I feel like should win it this year with the rosters that they have. Those might be the 3.
I would definitely like to see one of those 2 teams take it all this year, for sure.
While we still on the topic of these coaches that could be on the proverbial hot seat, you look at last season, you got James Franklin out at Penn State early into the season. He's now at Virginia Tech. Brian Kelly out at LSU. Billy Napier out at Florida. Sharon Moore out at Michigan. And so looking forward into this season, you got coaches like Dabo Swinney, who didn't have the best season last year at Clemson. Obviously he's a champion, and his resume speaks for itself. But this is a what have you done for me lately business. And as of lately, he hasn't really been cutting it. But he's looking to rock the ship. You got a coach like Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. Alabama is pretty spoiled, I would say, when it comes to coaches, having Nick Saban, Bear Bryant. Great Hall of Fame coaches, upper echelon coaches, so he's definitely on the hot seat if things don't go his way.
They've been called the first loss.
Steve Sarkisian at Texas, Lincoln Riley at USC. He's definitely got to get it done. Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. Things almost went sideways last year, but they elected to bring him back. And then, like you said earlier, Bill Belichick, Hall of Fame NFL coach, or at least
now he's saying he went to Ole Miss. But let's keep it a beam. Before they was even telling him he didn't have another year, he even said he thought about going to LSU. And the head coach Pete Golding even said he had to kind of come out and say, I feel like as a coach, you don't even have to throw that out there if you don't think they leaving. Like he kind of had to let them know that like you're gonna be called everything under the sun if you leave. And that's another reminder that, bro, we are dealing with kids at the end of the day. You're not going to tell no grown man in the NFL. You're not going to tell Kevin Durant, if you go to the Warriors, they're going to hate you. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing with college football. It's still, you dealing with a lot of people who not all the way from a development standpoint, all the way right up here. So it's easy to kind of, or leadership is more important at this level. Not that it's not at the next level, but having somebody who can guide you down the right path, I feel like it's super important now because, I mean, college football, until they just put dead rules on things, you can get like, man, I know I'm not trying to get too off track, so I'm going to bring it back to the coaching. Lane Kiffin going from Ole Miss to LSU, everybody at Ole Miss can be saying how much they hate him. Switch roles right now and tell me, for as diehard as you think you are, bro, like you just said, if my main goal as a coach is to win, why wouldn't I get up and go to LSU right now? Because one, when I get over here, they're going to treat me like the president. I'm going to a school where there's prestige. We just had a taste at a national championship, so that's not too far behind. So it's still guys in this building who got it done at the highest level. He goes and hires Big O for a recruiter, a guy who knows the area, a guy who can, I mean, he brought in Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Not that Joe Burrow was a 5-star, but he was a transfer from Ohio State, so he was still a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was still somebody. So the fact that you can do all that, you can call Lane Kiffin a snake all you want, but if this is a business, if players can do it, if players can hit the portal because they're not starting, I think it's fair for a coach to get up out of here to have more resources and a better chance at winning, especially in an era where more teams are going to make it. So now I really got to, depth is important now. So NIL, I need, this ain't NFL where I can pay. This is college, bro. I need to go to LSU who just got this Nike deal because I need to swing this 4-star. His deciding factor might be these 50 pair of free cleats that he getting, or this little Nike ad he finna get. And he know back home, little cousin and sister got kicks for the whole school. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is like, I feel like.
Or that deciding factor can be that extra few million we can give them. That Ole Miss might not be able to give them. So I feel like Lane Kiffin, or not Lane, Lane Kiffin, he probably stretched Ole Miss, as thin as he could. Even if they was able to offer him some more money, it would have paled in comparison to what LSU would have been able to offer him. At Ole Miss, you in respect to Ole Miss, but you a small fish in a big pond, which is the SEC and just the overall college football landscape. And the LSU obviously being a pillar in the sport, you can hate them for making a decision, but once you take your heart out of it and you think logically, it's who wouldn't want to get essentially promoted in whatever field that they work in? Who wouldn't want to get promoted? So
he got the number one athlete already. He got Jordan Seaton, the tackle. They're not coming to Ole Miss, bro. Like, the fact that you got a coach who know what he's doing at a program like that, prestige still matters. So, like you said, man, you can't hate him for wanting to go somewhere where, I mean, I don't want to use the word endless, but compared to what at Ole Miss.
Now you can be mad on how he did it and
because he definitely
and how he went about it, because that was very messy, But again, how did y'all want him to do it? Because essentially he had to start putting the pieces in place for LSU. Otherwise, by the time he would have got there, he would have been a month or so behind, and maybe those players wouldn't have been available to him no more. So he had to juggle two things, and Ole Miss did the right thing by not letting him, play defense. Essentially, if you on that side, if you go ahead, so we can turn the corner with this new coach and start to build from here. So, I don't blame Ole Miss for how they handled it, or the Ole Miss fans for how they felt about it, but you can't blame Lane Kiffin for wanting to essentially upgrade and
level up.
Chase a new opportunity. So both sides have a point, but that just speaks to the unpredictable nature of college football. Lane Kiffin isn't the first one nor the last one to do it, the fan base who's affected by that doesn't really want to hear that, when it's them on the wrong side of it.
Let somebody switch up on the Thunder, bro. I might call for 1,000 lashes. I ain't gonna fake.
Nah, for sure. Let me get to this. Let's do like a magic wand segment. If you had a magic wand and you could fix one thing about college football right now with the snap of a finger, what would that be?
I would be, if I could change one thing about college football.
Yeah.
Presuming that
whether it be on the field, off the field,
cool.
So
I think one thing that I would change is I would do per conference, because I think this is really important as I get into it. There should be each team, or there should be incentives throughout the season that determines how much NIL money you can spend in the next cycle. So, for instance, if you're in the SEC, the pot of money is bigger. So, because we still want to have like benefits of being in the conference from like a recruiting standpoint. We still want to make sure that like history and all that stuff matters. So let's say the SEC, and I'm just throwing out numbers here. Let's say the American has 10 million per school, but the SEC has 15. So let's not make it like 10 and 30 because then we're not gonna get nowhere. But let's do like let's say 10 and 15.
That's close. That's closer to the truth though than 10 and 15.
For sure, for sure. So let's say 10 and 15. The American get 10, the SEC get 15. Now, winning that game in conference gives you an extra 2 million. So let's really, no matter the record, let's really make these conference games important because this could be the game that be the reason why we get this 4 or 5 star. Money is the reason that we need to get him. So I would definitely pick a budget and maybe each conference sit down and they determine what they can afford because obviously a budget from Alabama and Mississippi State is going to be different from an SEC standpoint. So I feel like you come with an average that every team can do this. And as the season go on, now you can't say, well, it's unfair that this school got more money. Well, they winning. Let's make winning the main thing because obviously the big goal is to win the championship. But let's be honest, Mississippi State probably don't got the biggest expectations, but let's make the season still exciting for them because they could upset Florida. I don't know if that's really on their schedule, but you know what I'm saying? Or they could upset Oklahoma, and maybe that gives them an extra $4 million, and the local Mississippi guy staying at Mississippi and not going to Oklahoma because they got money to fool with them. So I think go ahead.
So does that money come from the profit sharing that happens within the conferences?
Yeah,
Or is that what you're saying?
Together. So let's say the SEC, and I don't obviously this is easier said than done, but maybe you come together as a conference, whatever the board looks like. You look at the financials over the last 10 years and maybe do like an average. And then maybe starting off, the bigger schools will probably have a little bit more to play with. But okay, let's get on these smaller schools to pound it, win some more so you can get to the top faster in a sense. Because I think in the era of NIL, there is going to be chances for smaller or mid-major schools or weaker schools to get bigger names to start off just because they got money. It's money, money, money. So I definitely would find like a budget per conference and use that as a recruiting tool. And let's really see who the better coaches are. Let's really see what programs are like. Because I feel like we're getting away from that in the sense with this NIL. Now I can just pay you the most. Now you come to my school. Coaching might not have something to do because there's gonna be a lot of kids that just see that dollar amount and I'm in. They're gonna see that new track hawk, I'm in. They're gonna see. So I want coaches because how do I say this respectfully? I fool with Nick Saban, bro. He would not be half the coach he was if he coached in the NIL era. And we harped on that, bro. At Alabama, bro, he was the only one able to play with that type of money, which is why you can have motherfucking Jerry Jeudy. That's why you can afford to lose Jameson Williams. That's how cracking your wide receiver room is, that you let J-Mo walk out the front door and he just had 1,000 yards back-to-back in the NFL. Because you got Jerry Jeudy, you got Devontae Smith, like you got these guys. So not saying he's a bad coach, but people be like, oh, he's the greatest coach of all time. Well, this nigga had 5 NFL receivers like on the team. So how hard is now? And I get coaching because I can imagine it's hard to coach that many good players. But I would like for the game to prove more versus like relying on just like he say, she say. You know what I'm saying?
No, it sounds like you saying it needs to be a salary cap just on that whole NIL thing.
Yeah.
And I know we're gonna get into that once we get more into all of that later. But hitting on that Nick Saban topic real quick. The last game Nick Saban coached in was the Rose Bowl against Michigan 2023, and we beat him. And he chose to retire after that game. Understandable. And I'm not just gonna say he retired because of the NIL. Like he coached a long time, so he's well within his right to retire or whatever the case. But he definitely didn't want to have to deal with these bidding wars with all these other schools who could now pay for these players. And I think there is some truth to what you're saying. When you are the only team or one of the only teams who can afford to dish out this money to this running back and this quarterback and this receiver, especially in a time where the transfer portal wasn't a thing. So it might be hard. You say it might be hard to coach a team with all this talent. It's easier to coach when you know that these players can't leave unless they're willing to sit out a year. Now you can leave and not sit out a year. If that was the case back then, a lot of those players would have left.
Bro,
a lot of them.
Like you schedule different knowing that it's 12 teams that can make the playoffs. Go look back at who these Alabama teams was playing. Again, this is no disrespect. They were great teams. But in the back of my head, I'm like, if they had this schedule now, Go look. We just talked about it last podcast, bro. Texas got a 4-game stretch that Alabama has never seen in the Nick Saban era, bro. And prove me wrong in the comments, bro. But I'm just saying from a standpoint of like heavy hitter, 4 games in a row, 2 of them on the road.
But
Maybe they
I think
did, but like
I think that says I think because Alabama definitely played some tough teams. They
no,
had
for
some tough
sure. But
stretches. But
like in the
what you're
season,
saying is, and I think it goes back to our topic of it being really no unbeatable team. The
yeah,
the parity as far as the roster construction goes a long way. Like Texas 4-game stretch that you talking about now, the teams that they're playing also have 5 and 4 stars and
but I'm
players
saying you
that
don't even
really
book that if you know only 4 teams make the playoffs versus 12. Like you,
no,
that
absolutely,
strength of schedule, you don't even
absolutely.
line yourself up because you make the schedule years in advance. You as a coach. I don't know, but I bet you, Sarkisian, for example, if it's only a 14 playoff in 2014, I bet you half them games not on there, bro, because
Yeah,
it's still
you
value in
not
winning these games. Like
you not
for as
booking
much as
Ohio State week 1
you're not doing
last
that.
year.
Iowa State and
Yeah.
Texas not going against each other 2 years in a row in the first 2 weeks. And I'm just giving out examples as far as like the 1 and the 2 team going into last year, 2 years in a row. Like you do that because you know I can lose 2 to 3 games, but I want to test my team because I still want to win. But as a coach and as a whoever schedules these games, there still is a sense of like the importance of who you schedule. And not to get too off track, Auburn Baylor. A lot of Auburn fans are really upset because they took away one of their home games to schedule Baylor week 1 at a neutral site. Now the rest of their home games is essentially pencil in belt games. Like they don't play nobody at home. So fans locally still want to see competitive games. So I'm not getting off that. But I just feel like you can't get more comfortable or risky in a sense of who you lined up in years to come, knowing that I can afford to lose this game. Not that you think like that, but I feel like somebody, even if it's the coach not thinking like that, it's somebody that you hire in the back of your room to remind you, let's be realistic for a minute. Like, we can lose this game. So let's schedule Texas week 1. Because we mentioned that you're not scheduling Ohio State and Texas week 1. And if you do, your season is probably over with. Like, right then and there in a 14 playoff.
Yeah. I think it
My
was.
opinion, though.
I think it was always necessary to expand from the 2-team BCS model to the 4-team playoff model to now 12.
Yeah.
And I think the more you expand, the less important these other bowl games mean. If it's
Yeah.
not a New Year's Six bowl game that leads into deeper into the playoff, then a lot of those other bowl games really the notoriety of them kind of go away unless you really love a certain fan base or a certain
Right.
school and yeah, and
That's
it
a good
matters
point.
to you. But
That's a good
um,
point.
you make a lot of good points though.
What would you do?
The what you
Magic
mean
Wand.
the
What would you
Magic Wand
change?
situation?
Yeah.
I don't even know where you would start, bro. I think the salary cap would probably be the most effective thing because, like you said, when a school can pay, like Oregon is paying 40 plus million allegedly, but that's what it's looking like, about 40 plus million for their roster. And then like you said earlier, like a team like Mississippi State, they don't look at it like they can win a national championship, but I mean they play in the same sport, at least they supposed to, so they should
Right.
be able to. But realistically, if you can't spend that type of money and get
Yeah.
those type of assets, then are you really playing the same sport?
Yeah.
Is this
Because like
really the
these is
same?
kids, bro. This ain't the big leagues where like
Yeah, this
everybody
ain't the
here made
same.
it. This ain't the
Yeah,
same,
this ain't
man.
the same. This ain't the same situation. So, um, I think what I would do, and I heard this point made elsewhere, but basically how like teams like USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, they just merged a few years ago with the Big Ten, and then you got Texas and whatnot going to the SEC. I feel like the, most of, if not all of these schools should just merge into what's already the 2 most powerful conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. And I feel like once that happens, like the point you made earlier, the profit sharing, I feel like it'll be a lot more money to go. Now, obviously, it's almost like not to like, I don't want to make it like socialism to where like you taking money from Texas to pay Rutgers
Yeah.
because the money is so different,
Rob
whatever it
Dollar to
is.
pay
But
Peter.
yeah, but
Yeah.
if this is all either come out and say that these schools who can pay this money is in this league over here, and this is gonna be they gonna crown a champion, and then these schools over here who don't have the money or resources that these schools do, y'all gonna play amongst each other and crown a champion. Otherwise, why are we merging these teams if 75% of them aren't even playing with the same type of money?
Yeah.
Because ultimately at that point, y'all just wasting the time. And now, could teams get lucky and could upsets happen? Yeah, but no upsets happen in basketball more so, I believe, than football.
I believe
Now,
that.
could it happen? Yeah, but like, could a team could get hot in basketball, and subsequently a team can go cold in basketball. But in football, when you got a D line that's full of NFL talent and an O line on the other team that's not NFL talent, it shows, and it shows pretty early in a football game. And everything starts from in the trenches. So
Yeah.
I just feel like if you're dealing with teams who can pay 3-4 million for a left tackle, a quarterback, a receiver, stuff like that,
Yeah.
those teams need to be in a separate league. Otherwise, the it's just, I don't want to say it's not fair because everybody got a chance, but it's like when you really know what you're looking at, it's really not fair. So I
Yeah.
think that would be my magic wand thing. I would want to see how that, because we know how this works. Mississippi State isn't going to win a championship. Tulane, for as good as they were last year, they were not going to win a championship.
Shouldn't even been
So
there, to be
and,
honest.
and this is why John Summerall goes undefeated, but still leaves to go to Florida, because he needs a team and a roster and a organization with resources where he could potentially one day win a championship. So I feel like if two super conferences, Big 12 or Big 10 and SEC, merge all the teams, split them up, and if anything, too, I think it'll bring back some regional matchups that used to really be important in the sport. Like when the Pac-10 was a thing, and you had, not that these schools don't play each other, but consistently, like a
Yeah.
USC and a Washington, or like Washington State, they play each other, I believe, week 1 this year. But games like that used to matter because it was a
Yeah.
Pac-10 game, and it was more of a, like we said, the tribalism thing. It was just more important. Those conference games used to really matter. And another thing too about the conferences or the playoff expanding is that conference games don't matter as much, even though you want to win, but you can
Unfortunately.
afford to lose a couple games, and like you said, these are young players, so you don't want to expect them to be perfect, but you also don't want to water down the competitiveness and the tradition of the sport, so to speak. For instance, like Michigan and Ohio State, the winner of Michigan Ohio State used to always be the winner used to go to the playoff, the loser probably not. But a few years ago, Michigan beat Ohio State, and I believe they both made it into the playoff or the something like that. So just a lot going on in the sport. Let me see, what can we get into next? What can we get into next? Let me see.
That's a good point, bro. I low-key thought you was gonna say something. I like that as far as like what you would do to if we had a magic wand to change it. I low-key thought you, and you kind of hit on it at the back end of it. I thought you was gonna say something along the lines of like we need to just make conferences like geography based. So like everybody in the
I
Midwest.
mean, that's what it used to be.
That's what it used to
Like
be. Yeah, like
USC being in the Big Ten just don't even sound right.
it don't
But
even
I
sound
get
like
why
that.
they do it, because you want to be in the Big Ten, because when these rankings come out at the end of the
For
season,
sure.
you want your schedule to match up with a lot
For
of these
sure.
other teams. And you're not
Because
gonna do that if you're playing Washington State and
yeah,
UCLA and teams like
yeah,
that. Even though UCLA in the Big Ten now, but I just mean like when the Pac-10 was a thing and it was popping, like college football was just it was the regional aspect was still in full effect, and it mattered,
for
it
sure.
mattered, but you don't want to get caught up in how things used to be and wishing that the old days were still now,
It's
because
gone.
the sport's changing, so it's not really something you want to get caught up on too much, because it'll
Yeah,
always be something that you will want to change and whatnot. But
for sure.
the sport is
Can't
the
please
sport is
everybody, but
yeah, the sport is forever evolving. So
yeah,
the fans got to evolve too,
for
so
sure. That's a good point.
definitely
Gotta
definitely
evolve with the sport.
definitely.
But
Let's touch on Indiana real quick. Obviously, defending champs. Frank Mendoza. What's his name?
uh,
Mendoza. What's his first
Fernando.
name? Fernando. Caught his
Uh,
ass. Frank. Yeah,
close enough.
Mendoza. Yeah, for real. Mendoza, first pick of the draft after a great playoff run. Bringing in a new quarterback, Josh Hoover from TCU, I believe.
Yes.
Kirk Cignetti, third season, already got the monkey off his back. Um,
Hmm.
Brought in Nick Marsh. some more great talent. That defense lost a lot of players, but
Speaking of
I
that
think we're going.
defense, oh, I
Yeah,
don't want to cut you off. They did lose a lot of players, but according to this new rule, and we'll get into that here in a second, um, Indiana star defensive lineman Stephen Daly will return to the Hoosiers for his 5th year. He led Indiana in tackles for a loss last season with 19 and also added 5.5 sacks. His
when
addition looms as a significant boost of talent deep in Indiana. This is the guy who got injured right before
he
the
got
playoffs.
hurt, yeah, he the one got hurt right before the yeah.
And
Okay,
if everything go right in Colorado, like you just mentioned, Indiana, they lost a lot of guys. But if you can bring him back, if this rule stands, because I think right now, like it still has to get voted on, if I'm understanding this correctly. He'll be set to be eligible for his 5th year. Yeah, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off by Indiana, but it's
nah,
crazy.
that's a good point because that's a good point. That's a
Yeah,
good point because I didn't know that, but
yeah.
that just furthers my point that Indiana could be primed to be right back in the thick of things. We obviously got to see what this quarterback looking like. If you don't trust the head coach by now, then I don't know what you're looking at. This guy clearly is a football mastermind. He's a great team builder and a great leader. And to be able to win a championship in your first 2 years with the all-time losingest football program in college football, that says a lot. And I feel like since we like in the moment, he probably won't get all the credit that he really deserves, but that's one of the most improbable championships across any sport of all time.
Bro, he
To be able
retired
to,
right now. Everything I love, Hall of Fame, if whatever
nah,
area,
for
Hall of
sure,
Fame.
for sure, for sure. Like he doesn't need 6 championships or however many Nick Saban got.
He
Like
don't need that.
that one championship with Indiana is worth about 100 if we being honest,
Oh,
and
for
and
sure.
he didn't come to Indiana and just wipe out the transfer portal and pay a bunch of players. He brought his JMU players with him, some of them, and
A lot of them, shit.
yeah, really just made the most of it. Really just made the
Yeah.
most of it. First
Yeah.
year, we won a handful of games, a pretty decent season, but
Made the playoffs.
to win a championship in your second year with
Yeah.
Indiana, that's it's almost unfathomable,
From
but
for my NBA people, that's like going to the Washington Wizards with the roster they got right now, and you bring in somebody from a G League team in a sense.
not the roster they got now. They look decent right now.
Well, yeah, okay, they look decent right now. Okay, let's go. Before 2 years
Couple
ago,
years ago. Couple years
whoever the
ago.
bottom team was, the equivalent of what Kirk Signage just did was he took a bottom team, brought in guys from his G League team that he built up that might have been overlooked, whatever their case may be, not in the G League because of talent, but whatever. Brought them to this worst team, made the playoffs the first year, championship the second year. Third year, a lot of people are saying, well, what now? Since you're getting hunted now. And I like how he said we got a bigger gun. And because we understand where we're at now. And this is his third season as the head coach for the Indiana Hoosiers. And he's his third quarterback, bro. So I like how he mentioned that a lot of people are kind of going in on Josh Hoover because, and I could have the numbers flipped, but maybe in 40 games with TCU he had 50 turnovers, or in 50 games he had 40 turnovers. No matter which one it was, I think it's the 40 to 50. He turned the ball over a lot, according to TCU fans. And I like how Kirk Cinetti said, well, when he came to Indiana, he met his two best friends, a run game and a good defense. He ain't never had that, bro. And we're not going to ask him to do the things that TCU was asking him to do. You come here to Indiana, and he even mentioned how, was it Curtis Rohr? I could be just making that name up. Was that the first guy who was there? Curtis Rohr or something like that? And then Fernando Mendoza. He said both of those guys bought into just do what we ask you to do. We brought you here because we know you're capable of doing what we ask you to do. Now, if you go above and beyond that, Fernando Mendoza and with the Heisman, well, this good offense and this good defense is going to allow you to do that if you got that in you. But a lot of people kind of harping on Josh Hoover and being a turnover-prone quarterback. Like you just mentioned, he's going to a coach that he's never been coached. And I don't even know Josh Hoover. But what Kirk Cinetti has showed us from being in the Saban tree, winning over there at Alabama, going to JMU, winning everywhere he goes, I think that'll rub off on Josh Hoover. And as a recruiter in the game of NIL, I think guys like Kirk Cinetti could be that one outlier who could overweigh the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure a Nick Marsh could have went to the LSU. He could have went to Ohio State, Miami. Them guys was calling. And they probably got more money to offer to Indiana because for as good as Indiana is, coming into the preseason AP, they still ranked 6th. And fans is mad about that. And are they, like you mentioned, I like how this is tying into each other, or have they reached that status where this championship now has us spoiled to where our expectations are now up here now to where 6? That's disrespectful. According to them, because we coming off a national championship, you got us at 6. But I think that just goes to show you how quickly the NIL can, in a good way, affect a bad program. I kind of got off track and don't even know how I got to where I got, but I feel like we were talking about Kirk. Yeah, Kirk Cinetti, Indiana. So I like how you mentioned him because he's one of those guys who's showing you that in this new NIL, even though that's the name of the game, he didn't have that. So it still is possible for.
I mean, all right, go ahead.
It still is now he's got that, but that first year he didn't have that money to compete with a Michigan, Ohio State. But now in just 2 years, the NIL now that's an afterthought. Now he do. We know that maybe Indiana ain't up there, but
yeah, or even that, or even just like the cachet to be able to demand or command that type of money because these donors and whatnot, like they spending this money in hopes to win a championship, you know.
Yeah.
So in that first year, they like you know, let's see what y'all do. But after winning the championship, I'm sure it's gonna be a little easier or a lot easier to get that money, you know, because
for sure.
like a team like Texas with the type of donors that they got, you know, not that they don't care if they don't win. Obviously, they want to win, but you know, ain't nobody hurting them donors. Ain't nobody hurting for money if it don't pan out, you know. So
we don't take
they'll
maybe the loss
they'll be all right.
in the end might.
Yeah, they'll be all right, and they'll recoup that money back, you know, some other way if need be. But definitely, and as far as Indiana not being a number one team, I feel like when you lose the Heisman winner and a lot of his weapons and a lot of defensive players, it should be understandable how you not ranked the number one team. You know, it's not like you fell out of the top 10
and stuff though. Like I think, and that's Indiana fans maybe jumping the gun. One championship don't put you at Ohio State level, but those type of programs can have that big of a turnover. Oregon not so much this year, but Ohio State can have a new quarterback. Texas, you know, NIL is keeping guys around a little bit longer. But I think Indiana fans are more so thinking that they deserve to be in that category where, we turned the roster over, but I mean, our coach is showing you he bring a new roster every year, so why does it matter now? And we just won a championship. I'm with you. I don't think they're the best team, but that's the angle fans are taking, and I think maybe they just got to like, and I get it, bro, because like we just mentioned, what he just did, that's like 100 championships, but at the same time, it ain't. In the
it is just one. It is just one.
Like us, that's turned. Like we said, he go Hall of Fame right now. But when these AP guys, I don't know who put that together. These voters, I don't think they look out that lens like maybe fans or people like us might. Because then again, I still think they got biased ties towards whatever conference they coming from. Different conference.
That's why I pay more attention to the coaches poll, you know, and whatnot. But I feel like Indiana, I mean, you won one. Not be grateful, but like, you know, these other teams got track records, you know, and not that any of that matters heading into this upcoming season, but just like you said, this new quarterback turns the ball over a lot. These other people know that, you know, so they want to see if you can, you know, adjust and make him into a better player than he's ever been, really. So you at number 6, you in the playoff, you know, you well in the playoff, and man, if you want your respect, go earn it, you know, so. You want your respect, go earn it. That's what all these other teams got to do. And they put in, like I said, the track record speaks for itself. That's why Texas and Oregon and Ohio State can be ranked up there, even if you don't believe they deserve to be. They track record, you know, says that they should be. And Indiana, you had a good season, a great season, and man, who would ever thought Indiana would be a number 6 preseason ranked team?
I'm damn near on the fence of like, be cool with being 6, bro. Because
that's what I said. Like, it's not like a be grateful, but like, you know,
like,
damn near a little bit, a little bit.
Them, like, you're not even. I mean, the only team in front of them, Ohio State won, and this is coach's AP preseason. So I mean, take it how you want. Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame in that order, then Indiana. So it's not even like y'all behind. Lined up all these games right now, I would imagine Indiana would be the underdog in like maybe all but one.
I mean, that's how it was last year, though. It was underdogs for a lot of them teams last year, and they got it done, you know. So,
but fans, you know what I'm saying? That's probably why y'all are at right now.
They deserve the respect, you know. They deserve the respect. They're the reigning champs, you know. So, But at the end of the day, them rankings, as much as they matter, the preseason rankings, they don't matter. You know, the
Line it
games
up.
got to get played. So, like I said, go get y'all respect. You know,
Line it
I
up.
understand why they could be upset. Go get y'all respect.
Mhm.
Few more things before we switch over to what you wanted to get into. What are some of your favorite rivalry matches in college football?
All
I
right.
go first
Yeah.
just to give you some time. Definitely already off top, Michigan versus Ohio State. Even Michigan versus Michigan State. Them two games definitely always must watch. Um, let me see. For some reason, I always like the Arizona State matchup. That's something I always bring up.
Yeah.
Definitely always kind of been into that one. As Deion Sanders have been with Colorado now, always tuned
That would have
into
been turned.
Colorado State,
That was
definitely
turned.
even
Yeah. That was.
really all Colorado games. We being honest, um, LSU Alabama always been a good one too,
Yeah.
but I always like the Iron Bowl Alabama Auburn. That's always been a heavy game for
That's Bama
sure.
smoke right there.
Um, yeah, even the little Florida mix ups with Miami Florida
Miami
State or
State.
Miami Florida,
Even
however you want to
UCF get
do it.
cracking with
Yeah,
any of them Florida
UCF.
schools. They take that
Yeah,
personal.
definitely.
Sure.
So definitely a lot of good ones. What's
I'm gonna
another
do
good one that really
I
don't
got
get
two
to
Midwest ones that I like with us being in the Midwest. I like the
for
Border
sure.
Wars or the Sunflower Showdown. What is it? Wait, Sunflower Showdown. That's Kansas K State. The Border Wars, at least for college basketball, is Mizzou Kansas. We
Mizzou,
don't get
Kansas,
that as
yeah.
much, but I do like that off the set. I just
Yeah.
like rivalries that are local. The Red
Yeah.
River rivalry, like Texas
Yeah.
Oklahoma. That was a
Yeah.
bigger example. But with me being in the Midwest, I feel like I could feel that rivalry more, even though I'm not attached to any of those teams because I'm not in that state. But I like the Red River just because we even mentioned, especially lately, Oklahoma has had some damn good quarterbacks and a really good defense. So that's always an exciting matchup because you already know what Texas is going to bring from the strength of being the university. They always going to have players. So it's not even we're not worried about if Texas going to have guys. But Oklahoma being what Oklahoma has been, well, not that they haven't been good, but even going back to when Caleb Williams left, they had Spencer Rattler and Kyler Murray, and even these
Mm.
last 10 years, they've been getting those John Mateer, these quarterbacks that can extend plays, get excited, explosive plays, make plays with their legs. Not as traditional as back in the day. So I like the Oklahoma Texas Red River, and I kind of just like throwing the horns down. Like I guess I just picked a side right there. Y'all just threw the horns down.
Yeah,
So
you definitely just
yeah,
picked
I
this
just clicked
out.
up. I just clicked up. Like,
Yeah.
go goddamn.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I
Nah,
kind
for
of
sure.
I like that one. That's a rivalry that I feel like always got some.
For sure.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
think just rivalries in general, like it's like
It's good for the sport, man.
like the NFL, yes, rivalries like divisional rivalries,
Yeah,
but it's not as
it's not
um
the same, bro. Like,
yeah, it's just not the same to say the least. Like you could put any word on it, it's just not the same. And while college football is still changing and those rivalries are starting to mean a little less and less, but if
yeah,
you a diehard fan of the sport, they still mean something to you.
yeah.
So
You'll
the
go back and watch
rivalry,
some of them historic
yeah.
games if you a
And when
fan.
you watch the games, the players still play like it matters.
Oh
So
yeah,
the
oh yeah.
rivalry games were definitely still like Clemson, South Carolina, they get at it. Like they get at it for
Yes.
sure. They definitely get at it. Um, Keeping on that, what are some of your favorite college football moments or players just of all time or the last,
Mm.
couple decades? What are some of your favorite moments in the sport? I think of Jameis Winston, 2013, Florida State, driving 80 yards to win the national championship
Oof.
against Auburn, something like that. Obviously,
Uh,
like Reggie Bush, him,
mm.
his great seasons, even
Yeah,
with Lindell White in the backfield
yeah.
with him, somebody who don't get enough credit.
I ain't gonna fake. All
Um,
right, I got two real quick.
nah,
This is
go ahead.
random. Bro,
Go
Allen
ahead.
Robinson at Penn State was raw
Was a
as hell,
dog.
bro.
Was a dog.
Raw
Was a
as
dog.
hell, bro. And he
Was a
was nice in
dog.
the league, though. Like, not to
That's a
say that he
good
like
pull
went to the
though.
league and won the nigga, but like,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
remember, I don't know who they was playing, bro, but he took like a screen, and he wasn't like no speedster guy.
And he got loose. I know exactly
Bro,
what you're
I'm
talking
talking about
about. I know exactly what you're
He
talking about.
ran like down the end zone. I think it was on the road because the crowd was like dead as hell. But like,
Yeah.
bro, that was turned up. Allen Robinson at Penn State was a nigga. I like the moment. Speaking of moments, I like when Caleb Williams came in for Spencer Rattler and just
Yeah,
ran, and he run for like 50, 60 yards to the crib, and then like
he
ever
made it
since then,
happen.
it was
He made it
Spencer
happen.
Rattler had to go to South Carolina after that, bro, because he snatched
Yeah,
his
he made it
chain, bro.
happen.
Trinidad Chambliss, more recent.
Yeah,
Austin, what's that? Is it? It's not Austin Mack, is it? I'm thinking of Alabama. Whatever the quarterback is, who at Mizzou now, who played baseball. Not Lincoln Riley. Lane Kiffin was. I mean, going into the season, this is my God. This is a quarterback. This is a
yeah,
quarterback. I like moments in college football where an injury, and God forbid any injuries, but maybe sometimes an injury lets us know that like the coach got this wrong the whole time. Because I
Mhm.
got somebody like this on the bench, kill mode, and I just spoke into two situations where you got two quarterbacks that kind of just essentially, for as much as you stay prepared, I feel like it's a different type of preparation when you know 100% I'm going to play in this game versus like
yeah,
I'm going to prepare and might maybe not play. But
yeah.
for in college football, I feel like, or even in college football, where who was that? Tennessee, where they put out like a kickoff team full of walk-ons and they got the turnover, or Texas A&M, I forgot what
Something
it
like
was,
that.
but like moments like that in college football, I feel like definitely separated from the pros. What about you? More moments, players?
Uh, I'm trying to think of a real good moment.
Cordell Patterson
Artist,
at Tennessee was nasty.
yeah, he was raw. If we just
Ooh.
talking about players, bro, do you remember Marty Gilliard from Cincinnati?
Uh-uh.
Wide receiver, Marty Gilliard. That's probably like early or late 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, something like
I
that.
know nothing.
Raw,
Yo.
yeah, yeah, decent, super raw, super tough. Let me
Oh,
see.
oh, what's
Hold
that?
on, I got all the jerseys. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu, LSU,
LSU.
crazy, crazy, super crazy. Derek Stingley, freshman year, LSU, super crazy,
Jeff
super
Okuda, free
crazy.
Hefe. Bro, I thought he was going to be the
Jeff
rawest
Okuda,
corner. And
yeah.
shout out to Twan, bro. Well, don't shout out Twan right now. I don't fuck with him right now. Twan, if you're watching this, get ready. Uh, bro, I remember Twan was telling me how good, like how much Jeff Okuda was not going to be nothing in the NFL. And bro, I promise you, I don't know how much money I had at the time, but I would have made a bet with him that Jeff Okuda, aka Free Hefe, I thought that was the hardest nickname ever too, would have made a Pro Bowl over not making one, bro. And the fact, and I
Yeah,
know injuries play a part in it. He went to Coach Patricia, who didn't leave the best taste in people's mouth. No, did he as a head coach in Detroit before Dan Campbell got there. That's another player too who I just recently like, bro. I could have sworn like I thought he was gonna be what Sauce was for the Jets, bro. Like all
yeah,
pro first year, like I thought Jeff Okuda was gonna be. And shout out to Jeff. I don't know what he got going on right now, man, but oh goddamn, I thought he was gonna be a.
man. I think Jabril Peppers, Michigan, he was
Ooh,
crazy. Sticking on
everywhere.
Ohio State, I don't, I give credit where credit is due, bro. Ryan Shazier at Ohio State,
Oh,
incredible,
love.
definitely,
Oh,
definitely. Um, Man, who else some raw players are we on this topic, man? 'Cause it was some, it's some dogs. Let me think. Let me think. Cordell Patterson was a good one,
Oklahoma
bro.
State.
Cordell,
Since I brought that up, what
yeah.
Justin Blackman?
Justin
Oklahoma
Blackman,
State,
crazy,
nasty.
crazy,
Didn't come out
crazy,
of the league well though because he had some other stuff going on.
crazy. Even CD at Oklahoma was crazy though.
He played with
Yeah,
Hollywood too, didn't he? Or no? Was
I
they there
think
at
he
the
was.
same time?
Was he before Hollywood? I don't know.
I don't know. I know
I
they both
don't
went to
know. Yeah,
whatever, bro. But
Michael
remember when we
Michael
was playing
Crabtree,
college
Michael
football?
Michael Michael Crabtree at Texas Tech, crazy,
I remember when
crazy.
college football first came out. So what? We on the third game now since they reinvented, like So
27, yeah.
the very first one we was on there, and you could play. Wasn't that us? When you could like pick a college and go against other colleges, or was that on Madden?
Junior college.
Remember, you
I
could
don't
like pick
think
a
it was
college and they had all the alumni. It was like they only had like 7 schools available though, where you could like be their alumni. Or maybe I'm thinking of Ultimate. No, okay, that might have been Madden, but on
I'm about to say
Ultimate
that.
Team,
Yeah, that
bro,
was Madden for
that's probably
sure.
what we was on. Okay, I'm thinking of
That's
Madden.
what college football need though. I ain't gonna fake. They
That
need
probably
that.
was Madden. It was because I remember Michigan State was the team, and all they had was like Kirk Cousins, and Le'Veon Bell, and some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Madden. But I like
He was cold too.
L. Bell, Michigan State. Too much,
Yeah.
too much.
I feel like I keep naming these Big
We could
Ten teams. I'm trying to think, bro. Who's some ACC? Some people out the
ACC
ACC that was raw. Taj Boyd, Clemson, crazy. Sammy
quarterback.
Watkins, CJ Spiller, that was crazy.
Cub went down. Clemson. Okay. Uh,
Uh, Luke Kuechly, Boston College, crazy.
You don't know that, dude.
Uh, let me
I'm
see.
sick as hell. ACC, man. I feel like we could just go, man.
Yeah, let me
Mm,
see.
Aaron Donald at Pitt.
Crazy,
Done.
bro. It was what was my man name at Miami? DB. Uh, Trajan Bandy. He's like 5'9", dude at like nickel. He wore number 2, bro. He was crazy. He was
I feel like I
crazy.
know who you're talking about, but I'm gonna have to see him.
Yeah,
What's his
he was
name?
crazy. Trajan Bandy. I think it was like Trajan and then Bandy. Band with a Y. He was crazy. Let me see. Let
I
me
don't know
see.
if I know him. 'Cause I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, dark skinned dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he was
yeah, yeah,
tough, bro. He was just undersized, bro, but he was tough.
yeah.
He was
I ain't gonna
tough.
fake. More recently, I would have loved, and this is random as hell, because I just see him do a crazy route in training camp. Bro, I would have loved to see like Jimmy Horn or somebody like that with another year of college football. Because I feel like right when
Yeah.
he figured it out, he was out of eligibility, bro. Like if
Yeah.
he would have like I would because Colorado receiving room,
They were just loaded. They
they
were just
was
loaded.
loaded, bro. Like
Yeah. And he kept getting hurt. He was hurt that last year too. He was hurt. But when he was healthy, bro, he was going crazy. Like
flying, bro.
that first game against who was that? Like North Dakota State. He damn near had 200 yards, I
Bro,
think,
he
on
was
him.
yoking them,
Something
bro. I'm like,
crazy.
bro, he tough. Like, and I feel like
Yeah,
whoever
he's
better off
raw.
him,
He's raw.
when he go seventh round to the Panthers, bro, I promise you with another college football season, he would have got top 3 rounds, bro.
Yeah, but he where he need to be though, cause like he in the
Oh, for
mix,
sure.
so
That
he,
helped me get seen for sure. Cause I'm
yeah,
like, he's tough.
that speed going. I ain't even gonna bring it up, but he had a pretty solid rookie year, but he right where he need to be.
For sure.
Can't
Look
if
at
we doing this, we can't not bring up Travis Hunter college football year. He was going crazy
could
both
you
sides of
imagine,
the ball.
bro, if Florida State would have hired? Because I know we going everywhere.
Yeah,
Florida
I
State
already
is
know what you about
bad
to
right
say.
now, bro.
Yeah,
Bad. Could you
yeah.
imagine like where they would even be at? Like if they would have paid Coach Prime, like who would be in
They
that
didn't
building
trust it.
right now, bro?
They didn't trust it. You could have got Shador quarterback, Travis Hunter, and then who else, who knows what else
Any
you
nigga
could have
that
got
came
to
out of
transfer
Florida,
in.
you would have
Yeah,
Alabama coach
basically
right now,
all of
bro.
Florida. You would have all of Florida
Jeremiah Smith, you got a shot.
for sure.
I'm not now. I'm being realistic. I don't. Ohio State probably and Miami probably still snags those guys. But you in the
Yeah,
Coach Prime, if you put him in the room with Jeremiah Smith and Malachi Tony, bro, I ain't no telling what they come out that room thinking.
bro. I
He,
keep bringing up this school, bro, but you said Jeremiah Smith. You know, he used to give Michigan work, bro.
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett
Woo!
Wilson, bro.
Yeehaw, nigga.
Garrett
Yes.
Wilson, bro. He
Bro,
used to
if he
go
had that
crazy.
next, bro, I probably would against Michigan State. But bro, I promise you, he like stood on top of a nigga head, bro.
Bro, he was ridiculous, bro. He used to go stupid.
Hold on,
Braxton Miller
hold on, loud.
back
My
in
girlfriend is coming down. Give me a second.
for sure.
Carry this for like 2 minutes. I have to say goodnight to my son real quick. I
Nah,
can't
for
be outside.
sure, for
Be
sure.
right back.
Nah, but yeah, man. College football, a lot of good stuff going on. You know, a lot of different angles. Um, I know I'm forgetting a lot of good players too. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I should have wrote these people down, but it's been a we've been naming some good moments. I know some not so good moments. I don't know what year this was. It's probably about 7, 8 years ago, something like that, when Michigan played Michigan State and Kenneth Walker, the now Kansas City Chiefs running back, the Super Bowl MVP from this year. He scored 5 touchdowns on Michigan. Was that Lahome?
Oh goddamn, let him know.
Was that oh free safety 5 star
Oh,
Michigan
oh,
commit?
oh goddamn. Only 1 years old. You see the length. We was working on open tackling the other day. Let
Okay,
him know your favorite player right now.
he got to get with me.
Oh goddamn.
His favorite player number 6 from Big Body.
Oh, oh, he hates him.
Oh shit. Who else was pretty tough? Let me see. I know we on moments. What was some good moments? Oh, obviously the kick six, Auburn, Alabama. What was that 2011? Chris Davis, crazy moment. Hmm. I don't know, man. A lot of good things going on in the sport though. when he get back, man, we're gonna wrap with some of these week 1 matchups, and then we're gonna get into some of this NIL stuff before we get out of here. But yeah, who else was tough? Let me see. Teddy Bridgewater, Louisville, tough. Let me see.
Oh, the good thing about live television is you can freestyle. Sorry about that, very unprofessional. But
Hey, I just thought it too, bro. Teddy Bridgewater at Louisville was crazy.
Glove Ted, hey,
True
bro.
Glove was crazy.
I wonder what's up, and it could just be a coincidence. I wonder why Louisville don't do a better job. Where's CJ Bailey from? No, that's NC State. Never mind. I'm about to say, bro, they snagged Teddy, they snagged Lamar. I wonder how they're getting these Florida quarterbacks to go over to Louisville. But maybe Lamar just went there because of Teddy. Who knows?
I was touching on. We was doing like, what was some of your favorite college football moments? I hit on some of my not so favorites when Michigan State played Michigan probably about I want to say it was like 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. When Kenneth Walker was still there and he had 5 touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns on us, bro. Crazy.
That black head coach, right? Before he got
yeah, Mel Tucker. Yeah, crazy. That was one of the worst days probably ever.
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
He put a belt on us, something crazy.
But you have more of an attachment to a squad. I don't have like that team attachment in college football. Basketball, KU, you know what I'm saying? But basketball, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Do you remember a long time ago when I made a damn commitment letter when I first was getting into college football? And I picked, did I pick Miami?
I think you picked Ohio State, man.
Oh,
or it was Miami or Florida State or something.
Florida, but whoever I picked, they got washed.
Bro, you sent me that before the season, and then after week 1, you said I'm decommitting, bro, for real.
I'm hitting the portal. I was the portal back then, but I left.
I remember that.
So shout out to Miami for getting it done, even though I left before things could get rolling.
For sure.
But I don't really have an attachment, so it's not really too many moments where I'm like, now from a betting standpoint. From a betting aspect, I used to gamble. I don't gamble anymore. But
that damn near hurt worse.
Yeah, that hurts worse, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was what game was I watching? Okay, it wasn't a game. It was a future bet. It was a future bet, and this is when Darian Mensah was on Duke.
Still at Duke, yeah.
And I just remember and I don't know what made me think, but I thought the ACC was so sweet that I thought that Duke could go over 8.5 wins or something. And I put I'm not even gonna put that amount because I don't bet too much money. But that one I put. I mean,
couple dollars.
Shit, $200.
Couple dollars.
Yeah, bro, that was bad, bro. So that's probably a moment where I'm like, I don't know. In hindsight, I don't know why, but I just thought Darian Mensah, and I still do think he is that good to do something like that. And in a conference where maybe I feel like he could have manipulated the ACC, but he still is in the ACC, just in Miami now. But yeah, that's probably one moment that I could think of recently where I'm like that one hurt from a collegiate standpoint. Basketball, now this is a college football standpoint. College basketball.
If we talking about college basketball moments, I got a few off the top of my head right now, bro. Trey Burke hitting that shot over Kansas in the Sweet 16, 2013, crazy. If we just on Michigan, Trey Burke against Ohio State. Trey Burke against Michigan State, ripping, getting 2 steals, and I believe like the last minute of the game to close the game out, had Tom Izzo turning pink on the sideline.
Peace.
Crazy.
Bro, remember when what was that school?
That Zion Duke run was crazy.
Man. Speaking of that, bro, I got a video on my phone right now, bro. I went to the what's that thing at KU? The Night at the Fall, bro. Zion Williamson appears at Night at the Fall. Zion Williamson tells me on everything, bro. I have a video that I will put in a clip later. I'm right here as he's walking down. I'm like, you coming to KU? Nigga said, most likely. He did not come to KU. But that moment, bro, where it was no game going on and the whole crowd just erupted and started chanting Zion, bro. He was sitting courtside. I literally thought we just landed LeBron James in Lawrence, bro. Because he was fooling with it way too much for me to think.
He thought he recruited. Why, though?
I thought I did my job. I thought he was coming.
You know why he was messing with it. Know what you know now.
What that nigga say? Hey, sweetheart. That's why
Yeah,
that's why his ass was messing with it, boy. He had them goddamn those
yeah,
bad ones.
yeah, wow.
Bad in the
But
back.
yeah, definitely some raw college football moments and players though. Like I said earlier when you left, bro, I'm kind of drawing a blank. Usually, bro, I can name off all type of players, bro, but I'm kind of on the spot. We're gonna make a future video full of or videos full of great moments and players because a lot of young players
Be on the
who
lookout for
don't
that.
yeah, a lot of young players in high school and just younger players now that really don't look back at the past, whether it's basketball or football. You miss a
Yep.
lot of great players who you might have, just was a little too young to watch or whatever the case,
Yep.
So we're gonna be making a lot of future videos. My last thing before we get to what you wanted to hit on is some of these week
Yeah.
one matchups.
Okay.
That we got Colorado at Georgia Tech. A week one matchup that's gonna be in Atlanta, where
Maybe
Georgia Tech is
Mendoza.
located. I really want to see what Colorado looking like this year. Another year for um, the quarterback. Just forgot the man name. What's his name
For Georgia Tech.
for Colorado? Julian Lewis.
Julian
Yeah,
Lewis.
Julian Lewis. Yeah, Colorado brought in a few big time transfer portal receivers, so should be interesting as far as they offense. Now losing Jordan Seaton is not ideal
Not at
at
all.
left tackle. Definitely not ideal, but it is what it is. That defense has always been pretty shaky, and I don't really expect too much different from this year. Maybe a little more consistent, hopefully, in stopping the run and whatnot. But we shall see. Really, just want Coach
Bef-
Prime to succeed. Really, just want Colorado to succeed.
before you go off Colorado, before you move off them, shout out to Gideon Lampron ESPN. I made a
Yeah,
TikTok video a few months ago talking about Gideon Lampron ESPN. Gave me a follow, liked the video, commented on it. For that alone, Gideon, you are a big body. I'll inform you on
yeah,
what
for
that
sure,
means here later. But so I'm excited to see what Colorado got going on. Brendan Marion,
bro. Yeah,
uh, the innovator, the go-go offense. That should be really exciting. Danny Scudero, though, is on crutches. I just seen he was on crutches. Transfer from San Jose State. Don't know what that means. They haven't came out and said the serious of this injury, so hopefully it's just being cautious ahead of a big game like Georgia Tech. Cam Perry is somebody really excited on that offense that I can't wait to watch.
he
Uh,
raw.
he's raw, bro, and they
He
just
raw.
got speed. And if you know what the go-go offense is, essentially it's to stretch, not you, but the people watching. Essentially, it's to like stretch the field. You got two running backs set. We're using speed to open up this field and manipulate and utilize this open field with the speed that we have. That was word soup. But they got the speed to fit this go-go offense. Brandon Merriam, a lot of people have been harping on him because I feel like, and again, this isn't accurate numbers because I'm freestyling here, but let's say he went to 10 schools in 11 years. It's something like that. Like you mentioned, maybe it was off air, but as a coordinator, your job isn't to stay put for 4 or 5, 6 years. At that position, everything that you move on, you're hoping it's an upgrade. And for a guy like Brandon Merriam, who started at the high school level, once he got done with football, he's leveled up everywhere he's went. Colorado leveled up again. He's got the roster, I feel like, in the Big 12 that I mentioned, where it's really about scoring points. At least that's what history tells us. Not really too many great defenses in that conference. So, like you mentioned, week one, I'm excited to see with Colorado, just because they're another team who heavy turnover, heavy transfer portal team. I think they got the goods, man.
I think it's gonna be on Julian Lewis, this the second year quarterback, to
Yeah.
really cover a lot of the deficiencies that this team might have. When you're a 5 star, and I'm sure you're getting paid some type of money.
Uh-huh.
That's what you're getting paid for. Everything ain't gonna always be great. But
Shout
he's
out to him
he's
for sticking
definitely,
with that too, because he could have shook.
yeah, for sure. But
Shout out to him.
he got a good setup. Colorado. They not probably spending like these other teams is, but they did pretty good in the portal. They got some good talent.
No, for sure. They
They,
built
they
around him, but I was like,
yeah. Even a
he could
player
have
like,
looked.
bro, on defense, I said I don't expect their defense to be too good, but that's because they lost a lot of players. But they got Boo Carter from Tennessee, bro. He's a
Yeah.
dog, bro. So
Hey, his
he
mom.
like,
Hey, and this is weird too. I made a video about him. His mama reposted and liked my video. So shout out to Miss Boo Carter. I hope your son
nah, for sure,
makes all
for
Big 12
sure.
team.
He's raw.
He
He's
raw for
raw.
sure.
So it's gonna be they got playmakers. I just don't know if they got enough in the trenches, and that's kind of been their Achilles heel offensively and defensively since Coach Prime got there. So Could I be wrong? Do I want to be wrong? Absolutely, but
Yeah,
we shall see. But
we
we
shall see.
definitely rooting for Coach Prime, you know.
For sure.
And I like Georgia Tech too. You know, they got Mendoza,
Who?
little brother. I'm a fan of Brent Key, you know,
You
so
said who?
Georgia Tech.
Oh, Georgia Tech. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they play. We want.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I like the head coach and Brent Key, so should be a good game.
They got
Um,
far.
Another week one matchup. You kind of already spoke on it earlier. Baylor versus Auburn, neutral site game.
That's fine.
Um, should
I'm
be
all
a
eyes on that one.
Yeah, that should be a pretty interesting matchup. And a lot of these matchups too, when it comes to these teams that aren't ranked in the top 15 or even top 25, if they are going to be ranked later in the season, probably around that 15 to 25 range, um, you know, when they make these top 12 rankings, they try to substantiate their arguments with how they rank the back half of the top 25. You know, so if we got a team ranked 7 or whatever, we're gonna make a team that they beat. We're gonna rank them probably at number 22 just to say that they beat another ranked team or you know whatever the case, just to make just to make the committee look smart. You know, they can play
Yeah,
with the rankings like that. You know, so I feel like a game like this later on in the season could end up swaying
oh,
a
100%.
team
And
one way or another.
to kind of just lay the foundation of this game, because this is a game that I told you that I kind of have circled on my must watch. I think it's a lot of stories, man. It's a neutral ground game in Atlanta, and I think that when people hear neutral grounds, that means it should be even. Well, that's not going to be the case. It's in
Absolutely
Atlanta,
not.
Georgia, which is like an hour and a half away from where Auburn plays. So expect this to be a second Auburn home game. Two quarterbacks coming in transfers. DJ Lagway, 5-star quarterback coming out of Texas. Now, if you're a 5-star coming out of Texas at quarterback, history says that you're going to be a guy. But for whatever reason, whether that be Billy Napier, injuries, turnovers, DJ Lagway hasn't essentially been the best, essentially. So he's going back to Baylor where his dad played. He's not seeing an SEC defense every other week. He's going to the Big 12. Dave Aranda, head coach for Baylor, who's also, I feel like, a coach that can be on the hot seat. Surprised that he still has a job. He's a defensive guy, so I feel like if he gets fired, he would just get hired by Dabo Swinney. They got history. But anyway, I think he brought in over 30 guys for that defense. So they bring a new offensive coordinator. He brings in the defensive coordinator from K-State, along with some guys from K-State. And I think David Aranda is going to be more vocal on that defensive side of the ball. So for a team like Auburn, who's bringing in a lot of players from USF, and Byron Brown, who I'm a big fan of as a quarterback, but isn't the best passer of football, for the viewer's sake, if you had to put an archetype on him, he's a pure runner. If you play college football and just to put in your head the type of quarterback he is, draws a lot of comparisons to Cam Newton just because of stature, the ability to expand, to play with his legs, big frame. So it'll be interesting to see how Byron Brown takes a step to the next level as far as playing a tougher opponent. Two quarterbacks who have a lot to prove. DJ Lagway, I feel like, is as desperate to prove that he's as desperate to clean up his NFL resume before he goes there than David Aranda and Baylor is to stay out of the hot seat. So I think a lot of teams, even though this isn't like a number 1 versus 2, a lot of implications. A first-time head coach versus a guy on the hot seat. Two quarterbacks, older quarterbacks. Byron Brown's last year. DJ Lagway's essentially last chance to prove that I'm an NFL guy. So I just think that this game is going to be really interesting from that standpoint. Now, again, we got SEC versus Big 12. So history tells us that SEC should get this handled, especially being the favorite team with the neutral site still being an hour away. But I'm interested to see how this thing goes, man. Another thing before I get it's your field, I looked at this stat, and they said that obviously in Atlanta, the most college graduates are Georgia fans, but there are more Auburn graduates living in Atlanta than Georgia Tech alumni graduates. I thought that was just an interesting fact, how Auburn is kind of a lot of alumni at Auburn have a lot of ties to Atlanta. So it's going to be an Auburn home game, pretty much.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made a lot of good points. Another game, Clemson at LSU.
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney got a chance to get the season off on the right foot. He's been talking a little bit about how he, you know, obviously he went into the portal a little bit, went
Yes.
shopping a little bit, and he thinks this team is going to be much improved. Of course, everybody's going to be interested to see LSU and the improvements that Lane Kiffin has made. Even though it is just week 1, you know, this isn't like the finished product, but you still want to see what you got. And obviously these donors want to see where this money going to, you know, and what it's looking like. So that's definitely going to be a big time game. Another one I got down is UCLA at Cal. I just want to see
That's gonna be a good one.
this young
Cal got
quarterback for
Josh Leipold.
Cal.
That Josh Leipold.
Yeah,
He coached for Saban too. He was the linebackers coach. Then was the DC at Oregon, and he just got the top cornerback from JUCO. Cal.
yeah. I wanna see what this quarterback looking like at Cal, the young boy, JKS. Definitely want to see what he looking like. And Louisville, Ole Miss in Nashville, neutral site game. Definitely want to see what Pete Golden and Ole Miss gonna be looking like. Obviously they retained Trinidad Chambliss and Kejuan Lacey, so
Chris Bell.
definitely still got some heavy hitters on that team.
Yeah.
Another one of those games that could prove to be substantial when it comes to the rankings towards the end of the season. Um, and lastly, Wisconsin versus Notre Dame at Lambeau Field.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, at Lambeau Field, definitely.
Go Packs.
Truthfully, I feel like Notre Dame should get that done. Not gonna say pretty easily because Wisconsin being a Big Ten team, they physical. I just don't know if they can keep up with the speed of a Notre Dame, but
Yeah.
we shall see, and just be interesting to see that game played in Lambeau Field. So those are some week 1 matchups that stand out to me, and yeah, man, that's all the topics I got. So if you want to get
All
into
right, man.
your spiel.
I feel like we talked a lot of good ball lately, and I feel like this one is going to maybe give whoever been watching a better understanding of where we're coming from once you understand this new rule that's been in place and how that affects the NIL and just how that affects the future of collegiate sports, not just college football, but just college sports as a whole. So the new 5-for-5 rule. First in college sports, leading up until now, you had 5 years to complete 4 seasons essentially. Well, now, to sum that up, this new age-based model that the NCAA has passed, it grants all D1 athletes 5 years. D1 athletes. So if you're JUCO, D2, this rule does not apply to those athletes. And what I got from it, and I'm still learning, and I feel like we are still learning because the courts are still very active, so things can get appealed. Not everything is set in stone. But what I took from it is basically this is going to eliminate any red shirt loopholes, any injury loopholes, anything that you mentioned earlier. You can take these guys to court. It just kind of gives everybody a fresh stage of you got 5 years once you turn 19. Another important part of it. September 1st is the cutoff date. So if you are born after that September 1st date, your 19-year-old cycle is the next cycle, if that makes sense. So essentially, like if you are enrolling your kid for school, you got until September 1st to enroll him for him to participate in this school year, or he won't be in kindergarten until next year if you do it after that date, to make it make sense. Where am I going with this? So yeah, from the college basketball standpoint and the college football standpoint, I just mentioned Indiana has able to get their best defensive front guy with this new rule. And in a sense where injury kind of took a toll on his season, I feel like that is a pretty fair rule. Now, I feel like with a lot of these people getting grandfathered in the class of 2022, the judge automatically grant them another year of college sports because that will make their 5th year. I feel like now, we talked about it earlier, with these deadlines happening in the middle of the season, when you're figuring out things like this now, it can really affect the way that a team takes shape as far as how they build their team. I'm going to go to college basketball here because Tom Izzo said it best. Tom Izzo has a player, and I'm going to blank on his name, but he's got a big man that averaged like 12, 8, 1.5 blocks, and almost 30-some% from the three. That's equivalent to almost a fringe all-star big in college basketball. Somebody can get you 13 points, almost 10 rebounds, a block and a half. But he extended his years of eligibility prior to this new rule being changed. And also with this new rule is if you asked to enter the transfer portal before this new rule got in place, you are allowed to explore other options for teams. Now, if you didn't put in that new rule, if you didn't put in that waiver before the April deadline, you can still come back to play for college sports. But as of right now, you have to play for the last school you played for. But for college basketball, these teams are now going, well, if I would have known that I could have had this player for another year, that would have affected how I would have built my team out for this upcoming season. And with so many good players, these aren't just bodies that are coming back. These are productive bodies in both sports. Tommy Castagnoli, kind of the poster guy, and I probably butchered the last name, but kind of the poster guy for college football as a quarterback who maybe he's not an NFL guy and was exploring playing other positions at the professional level. But if you're not one of these top 20 teams, I mean, you would probably consider him coming in consider him coming in and playing quarterback for your team, especially like we just mentioned, where just because in college sports where you might not necessarily have a realistic standpoint of reaching the championship, I still value these games that I'm going to see play. These donors still want to see what I'm going to donate to. If y'all not even close, then don't hit me up till we get closer to the mark. So I think it's still important to put out players there, and it's good for the university. A team like Kansas, who, and I'm just using them from a local standpoint, still D1. That's our only good college football team outside of Mizzou close. If they get a guy like Tommy in the Big 12, I can imagine that could swing 2 games. And that could be a huge – those could be huge implications in the future, rather that be get a new head coach, how much NIL you bring in the next year, what recruits see in your team. So I feel like obviously this first year is going to be a little bit wonky just because it's happening like in the middle and after, teams have already been built. But, and I'm just using KU as an example, for basketball, they still have an open roster spot. So they are considering adding Melvin Council, who even though he's in the class of 2021, he has a JUCO year, which doesn't go towards your 5 years, which I feel like this rule is also kind of eliminated because now we're going to get away from, well, I spent JUCO here and your clock starts at 19. So no matter what you did before then, after then, everybody can say it started at 19 and you got 5 years after that. Now, if you have injuries, that's part of the game. If you decide to go elsewhere, you want to move around, you can't use the fact that you can't take us to court as of right now, saying that it's unfair. So for his situation, he had to go JUCO. He could have went D1. I think he was like a 3 or 4 star, but he had some legal implications, which got dropped, so he had to take the JUCO route. So that's Melvin Council's argument, just to get more specific, why you still might see players who aren't in the class of 2022 still get accepted for another year, class of 2021. So that'll be that. You also seeing guys who play in the NBA Summer League who are now coming back to collegiate sports, college basketball. That's to clear up the air. They signed exhibition deals, not two-way contracts or team official contracts. So those players who signed two-way or exhibition deals can explore coming back to college. Dylan Mitchell for the Boston Celtics has yet to sign his contract because, he was one of the best players for St. John's last year. And you talk about a guy who's going to go into the G League, let's just start at number 650,000. A player of that caliber could go to college and easily get $1 million. He could easily go double, maybe even triple that money. So this new 5-for-5 rule definitely is going to change the landscape as far as like how these teams are conducted. Now, for the future of this rule, I think mid-majors are some of the biggest winners from this rule, no matter the sport. And I kind of talked to you about that because I would assume, and this isn't like something that I can prove, but just based off of college basketball and football, we talk about Kirk Cignetti. He was able to win that Indiana championship because he had brought all types of new guys in, but he wasn't bringing in freshmen. He wasn't bringing in sophomores. He was bringing in seniors, grown men, guys who have experience. He's bringing in, he's not bringing, and in that bunch is probably a few, younger guys, but the core of that, the guys that we remember are all older guys. We just mentioned that Stephen guy who is on the defensive line. He's a 5th-year senior. So when he came into Kirk Cignetti, he was already a junior, senior. You know what I mean? So he was already kind of in his collegiate body. He's got the experience. So I think that the mid-majors are going to win because these bigger schools, now that guys have an extra year, they're going to consider playing with players that, have proved it, especially for coaches that we even mentioned might be on the hot seat. If I'm a coach and I've got a senior who averaged 14 last year, I might be more comfortable with leaning on him at a prominent position than maybe this freshman who has higher potential, but I haven't seen nothing yet. And he played on a loaded team. So who's to say that he might have been getting guarded by the other team's 4th best defender. So things like that. So I'm going to lean on this guy. And, let's look at Michigan, another team that we talked about. Yaxel Lindenborg, transfer. They were killing him for his age going into the NBA. You look at Elliot Cadeau. He's not old, but, he's not a freshman or sophomore. So in collegiate sports, once you're past freshman or sophomore, you're old or a vet or, whatever you want to put it at. Adai Mara, he spent 3 to 4 years in college basketball. So these teams are getting built on, yes, the transfer portal and players, but they're getting built on guys who've done it before, guys who've been to these prominent programs, and maybe guys who needed to fall and see what that's like, and then came back and they know, okay, I don't need to make these mistakes no more on or off the field. So I think mid-majors are going to come in, and they're going to get these younger guys who might be able to – they want to play. These guys are itching to get on the court. And now with the clock starting at 19, there's still a benefit in going to a bigger team and sitting down and learning. But if you're a top 50, 60, 70 player, you want to play right now, especially if you're healthy and can do so. So Mercer, I think, is the school. Let me look it up because I don't want to be wrong. But they just signed a top 50 basketball player. He was a 4-star, but the fact that he even signed there just goes to show you that, Kentucky's rosters, they just stacked right now. They don't have any spots. Duke roster is built out right now. Michigan State roster is built out right now. So not everybody commits on the first or second day. I got to take my visits. I got to sit back and take time. I still want to get better off season than maybe. I want to see where these other guys land. I might need to play with a point guard, so I'm gonna check to see what school lands a point guard, and I know would benefit my game. So now, mid majors can, and it might only last 1 year or 2 years, but now mid majors can have that excitement of bringing in a 4-star, and like we mentioned, Mississippi State is not a mid major, but just to do comparisons, if Mississippi State in this new NIL era, the odds of them landing a 5-star quarterback are a lot higher than maybe 10 years ago. These mid-majors, their likelihoods of getting 3-4-star players is a lot higher than maybe a few years ago. So instead of maybe that troubled D1 player who couldn't figure it out playing for your school now, and maybe you're dealing with character issues and a good player, now you're going to have a better chance or more of a chance of molding these young guys. And we keep talking about NIL, donators. 5 years from now, if you take a shot on this kid or this 4-star decides to come to your school, and let's say a school that I'm really big on right now is Providence. I think they're building a really good team because they just hired one of the best recruiters as a head coach. Not that Providence is but if Providence can land a 4 to 5-star, could you imagine? I'm just throwing out names from the example standpoint. Let's say Anthony Edwards goes to Providence instead of Georgia, because that's not the greatest basketball school either. Could you imagine from a donor standpoint, if 5 years from the line, Anthony Edwards can say, Providence, that's my alma mater. I just signed a $200 million contract. I got my own sneaks. I could Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech, throw my logo on this jersey. Like, it's so many different things that come from, like, this NIL window that, yeah, we see it as the game being played, but it's a lot more science. It's a lot more math. It's a lot more ifs and ands. And if this would happen, then that could have completely changed the trajectory we were going in college football, basketball. So I think mid-majors are the biggest winners because now they can have these higher ranked, and not that ranking means everything, but especially in the offseason, from an excitement standpoint, from a donor standpoint, it definitely gives you a lean-in or a talking point that, hey, I got this 4-star now, so it probably does make sense for you to donate $50,000. Or I got 2 3-stars now that would have been rounding the bench at Duke, rounding out my starting 5. So I think we need some new uniforms because we might win some games. You know what I mean? You just, in the game of NIL, not that you obviously want to make the fan happy, but you almost want to make these donors happy more than anybody because with how much control they have with putting this money in, if I take a year off of donating to Toledo, then that could really have an effect on how this roster looks in a year. Because if I could give $2 million to Toledo, we could get 2 4-stars and a 3-star. But if I'm taking my donation back because for whatever reason, then, yeah, these same players are still available, but I don't have the resources to bring them in. And who knows, bro? And I just keep using Providence because I like them. Anthony Edwards coming to Providence could persuade another guy in Atlanta. We just talked about it. Louisville. They landed Teddy Bridgewater. That alone is the reason Lamar Jackson Heisman winner went there. Any kid from that area be like, okay, now I don't even know what Providence is. I don't even know where that's at. But now that I know that that's a thing, I seen my idol go ball out there. I seen this dude from my area go there. I feel like that can help from recruiting as well because all it's going to take is that one guy, Travis Hunter, going to Jackson State to show that, okay, this is a route. You can still get to where you need to go by taking this route. Don't be scared to bust this left real quick because scared just comes from unknown. With somebody doing it and showing the possibility of it being done, I think that's all it's going to take from a snowball effect aspect to, like, for us to start seeing guys taking that mid-major route for football and football and basketball. And like I said, I think coaches have every right to lean on one of the older players. So I don't think it's like an unfair thing. Now, from the player standpoint, it's definitely going to be harder for a true freshman to come in and prove to get like right now minutes because, again, you got a fifth-year senior who is better than you right now. This is a grown man right now. I've got this relationship with the coach. I've been on this team before. I've played in big games before. So I believe that would definitely push for more high school recruits towards mid-majors where it's a better chance to see the floor earlier and just develop before taking that next step. Again, you still got 4 years to cash in. So the guy put his pride aside, and I'm just using names for this conversation. Travis Hunter put his pride aside okay, that's probably not a good example because he went to go play with Dion. But let's just say Travis Hunter put his pride aside to go play here, and he showed that playing here helped his development. He showed that, okay, this might not be the best school, but they've got a guy in the building that can relate to me better than anybody in Alabama, Ohio State can. And now, Travis Hunter, 2 years later, Heisman winner, top 5 pick. The Jaguars are on the up now, so I would imagine that he's going to have I'm assuming he's going to have a pretty big impact on a winning football team at the NFL. So Travis Hunter is just one of the few, and he kind of was like right before NIL or like right when it was still new, so it was still a lot of questions. But pretty much this new 5-5 rule is word of soup. I know I've been talking a lot. 5 years to play 5 seasons, and now that could just really change how teams are built because now guys who might have called it quits. Donovan Dent retired from UCLA, and he was top 10 in the nation in assists and 13 points, and played on the team with Jared McCain in high school. Scorer, can hoop. He retired because like the NBA probably wasn't realistic. Now you tell me I got another year to go get another $1 million, $2 million. That's another year of generational money, opportunity of generational money. That's another year of better relationships for playing with players that I didn't play with last year, and you never know what comes from that. I've been talking a lot, but that's pretty much what I've got from this new 5-for-5 rule and how I think specifically mid-majors are the biggest winners from it, just because now with the top getting crowded with less spots available, by default, I think some players are going to trickle down and end up at these mid-majors. And not that they're bad players, but imagine, bro, we see that top 60 player go to a Toledo and average 25. Like, now you damn near set yourself up better going into the transfer portal. Now you can really go to Duke and play. Now you can really go to Kansas and play. Now you can really go to Michigan State and play. Now you can go to Indiana, a D1 team who made the tournament, who might not have Kansas and Duke players, but they sure got enough money to play them top 2 to 3 players to come compete. So, man, this new 5-for-5 rule, I think, is definitely something that can benefit the sport, similar to NIL, but also if it gets too out of control with people finding loopholes, it can definitely set the sport back a few steps if not done correctly, which I think is the importance of having like caps and like putting a leash on things, pretty much. So that's what I got to say about that new 5-for-5 rule. I know that was a lot of words, probably a lot of me getting off track, but that's how I see that rule in my head.
That's a lot of good stuff, bro. A lot of informative stuff.
Yeah. So
I just go back to. Go ahead.
For this new 5-for-5 rule, do you think? And this is maybe not be something fair to ask because I feel like research has to go into this for somebody to really like pick a side. But just from what we've talked about now, do you think it's more of a benefit that we get this new 5-for-5 rule? Like, are you one of those people that are like, oh, you're 24 years old, you don't need to be playing college sports no more? Or do you think, because from a viewer standpoint, I don't see nothing wrong with allowing good players to play another year. But I'm not a college basketball player. My opportunity isn't getting taken away from. My money isn't getting taken away from. So I feel like as a fan, it's going to be pretty exciting to watch some of these dudes come back and, like, run it back. Like, I feel like they are just giving the NFL a run for their money from an entertaining standpoint.
Yeah, I think we are ways away from, like, the days of the Fab Five or 5 freshmen, starting and running college basketball. I don't know. I'm not necessarily against, like a 23, 24-year-old player playing college basketball because I think what makes it look crazy is that when a freshman come in and then get drafted #1 pick, he's 18, 19 in the NBA, so by the time he on his first max extension, this other player is still, in the tournament, so I get why it look crazy, but everybody route different, so I feel like I just feel like it's good that they put like, safeguards in place to like kind of not let it get too out of hand no more. Now y'all know what it is. These are the rules. This is what can go on. And in this window that you got, make the most of your opportunity. So
because if you want to reclassify down and play another year in high school basketball and football and be the bigger guy, be the physically imposing guy, cool. But just know that everybody in your class, while you did that, they went up to college and they got better too. And now there's no like your year doesn't start once you get there. Y'all all still the same age though. So when they 19 up here, you 19 right here. They 19 with a year of collegiate experience under their belt.
Yeah.
You 19 with playing in-state high school. Not saying that they won't work, but just another thing to consider that like maybe the benefits of reclassifying down and maybe even reclassifying up. I mean, what's the rush to go up? If you are not unless you just one of those top 5 guys, as we just seen, speaking of that, the top player in the class of 2028 just reclassified to class of 2027. Now,
Yeah, that's nah. That's what. Go ahead. I was going to let you go ahead, but like you
yes.
reclassify up if
So
you know you got the
if you
talent and then
in that sense,
yeah,
reclassify up, go to the NBA quicker. But if you're not in that top echelon of players who can go to the next
yeah,
level and be effective right now, it's really no
yeah,
benefit in rushing anything. Like, because everybody's clock starts at 19. September 1st, 19 years old, y'all all on the same boat. So there's no advantage of like, I don't want to say, because it reclassifying down does have its benefits. But just in the sense of this, there's no benefit of going down and beating up on younger, weaker, less skillful players when you could go to a mid-major college and still cook, but you are playing at college speed, you're around college plays, you're around other college players, college atmosphere,
college weight room,
college
you in
weight
the
room,
weight
regimen,
room.
diet, the
Yeah,
whole like all that stuff that could be distractions. And now like because everybody's a man in high school if you're going D1 like we talking, so that's everybody deal with that. But in college, it's a different level, bro. Like, so I think
yeah,
it's an advantage of like, I think it's a disadvantage to stay in high school longer than you have to. Now, if you have to, handle business.
yeah. I mean, it's kids reclassifying in middle school now. I just feel like it just depends on what the like who's in your ear, obviously what your
Yeah.
guardians or whatever is, putting in
Yeah.
place for you. But if you reclassifying down, it has to be for like if you reclassify up to get into the nearest, graduating class to leave early, leave high school early. Obviously, you think you talented enough and
Yeah.
physically able enough to go to the next level a year early. And then if you now the inverse of that is if you reclassify down, you either think you're not talented enough, you're not physically strong enough, or both, whatever the case. And I feel like as a competitor, that could be used against you,
No,
whether it be
100%.
the players on the court or the recruiters themselves.
100%.
Like you want
I've
us
read
to
articles
believe
that
it.
like players going back to
Yeah,
college now, when they have to re-enter this draft cycle, that's gonna get brought up, bro. Like, why did you go
yeah,
back to college? Like Braden Smith, he just declined going back to college. We talked about him off the
yeah.
off the grid. Braden Smith, and I think that's good for him, bro, because if he would have went back to college basketball, and I don't, this is an anonymous source, but they were basically saying how like the NBA is almost gonna like make you go prove it elsewhere if you take that
Oh, they
route
lose
before
you.
we give you
Yeah,
another chance. Because we already seen you play. You're not gonna go
yeah.
to college and like if you got to go back to college as a 5th-year senior, coming into the league, you probably not gonna just improve so drastically that we like, oh, that's a great thing that you did that. From Braden Smith, you already got the assist record. Like, you could snap and it still be like, we already knew he was raw as hell. So, like,
Yeah, man. So we already spoke on that. Like he
yeah,
didn't
like,
need to go
he
back.
didn't
Like
need to
you
do that.
already
Yeah.
killed. You already killed. Like go see what you could do in the league because it ain't gonna get no easier. Like you gonna go back and then come back to
Right.
the league like this
They
week
still,
now.
them
Like
same dudes are still there. You still
yeah,
got to
it's,
go
it's
play them
still
same
it's
dudes.
still if anything it's gonna be tougher. Because now they looking at you a little different. So
Dude, we weak. We went back.
go in there and just see what you could do or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah,
Uh,
bro. I think to get back to your question, like I think it's a benefit, just having the safeguards in place, not just letting it be like, this player could play till he 30, this player could play till he 20, just having a safe, like I keep saying, safeguards in place, to keep everybody on the same timeline and whatnot. Because you hear a lot of these coaches too speak on how, like the sport is getting ridiculous and, you know, how players can be whatever age and keep playing. Because at the end of the day, these players are coming in at 18, 19 or whatever the case, and you want to keep it somewhat fair or whatnot, but and like when you in college basketball, if you're not going to the league after 1 year, even 2 years, like they hold it against you. Like if you a 4 year player, they kind of looking at it like, why was you a 4 year player?
Jackson
Like
Lindenberg, bro, he could have been a top
it,
5 pick talent wise. He was top 5 in my
yeah,
opinion, but because
yeah, he was
he's
raw.
23, 24, I mean,
Yeah,
falls to 11. But look at him in the summer league. He looked like a top 5 rookie. So in some
yeah.
cases, you can't, not you, but like
If
in
anything,
some
he just
cases,
more ready. He just more
more ready
ready.
is gonna help some of these guys. So it's one of them things
Yeah,
too, where like I mentioned earlier, the unknown is the scary thing. So I could be saying all this right now, and 10 niggas can come in next class and prove everything that I say to be wrong. You actually did benefit from staying back. We actually did benefit from doing everything you did say. So it's one of the things too, where like with this rule being so early, it's easy for people like me and you and just other people to like kind of, because I mean we don't have nothing else to rely on. This is the first time when you like are essentially like a guinea pig in an experiment. We don't got history to help form our opinions, or we don't have anything to fall back on to like help me think a certain way. So something
Oh
like
yeah,
this,
we
like,
projecting. We
yeah, we
projecting.
got to see it play out. Like I could say like it's no benefit in that, but like I said, I could get proven wrong, or the mid majors could not benefit from this. You know what I mean? Like this is something interesting too, just because I mean it just got like anything else, man. Like we talked about, we could talk about how good these teams is. You got to roll the ball out. You got to check up. This rule just got to play out. Like we got to see, and it has to play out for some years. We got to see how many seniors benefited from this. We got to see how this could mess up the league. We got to see how this could mess up recruiting from a high school standpoint, because now coaches, I might have 3 spots for 2 freshmen. Now I got 2. So now, that could just determine, just the
I
whole.
think that just adds another layer to that recruiting part because even the transfer portal, like a lot of coaches already say, like the amount of incoming high schoolers that they was bringing in, the transfer portal cut that number even
Yep.
more, because we can just go
Yep.
fill the positions we need instead of bringing in somebody who might need a year or two to develop before they even ready to fill that spot. So,
Yep.
um,
And
that's
I think
definitely
NIL too, it'll make it easier. And I'm just touching on all type of stuff from like an ego standpoint. I feel like getting paid to play at a smaller school from an ego standpoint is less damaging on your ego versus like going to a smaller school because you're not good. From like
yeah.
so like when these
I get what
teams,
you're saying,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So like when these teams get full, okay, I do got to go to Toledo, but I'm getting paid 1.2 mil to go to.
Yeah, and you
At the
might, and then go kill, and then in a year
go
you
kill,
can
come
go.
back. So like you
Yeah,
got a better mindset even going into the situation itself.
yeah,
Like so you can maximize your strengths. Some people go
yeah,
down to schools like that with their head down, and who knows how that can affect how you off season. And all it takes is for a coach to see you drop a ball once or twice for you to fall at the bottom of the depth chart. Now you got to catch 100 to move up a spot. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I feel like even from a mindset standpoint, these kids getting paid, and it can also affect it because now some of these players are getting paid more than their coaches. So, and I'm not on these fields, so I don't know if this is a real dialogue, but I can only imagine it's going to come a time where a nigga tell a coach, I'm getting paid more than you, quit talking to me. Because, I
You
mean,
are,
we know that
I'm
the
sure
kids
that already happened. I'm
already
sure that
happened.
already happened.
And
Yeah,
even from a coach standpoint, like, I got to talk to kids who getting paid more than me. Not that that matters at all, but I know that, like, my approach from coaching going to be different because I can't even, and these kids might be a little soft, I can't even talk to this dude how I want to because it's as easy as saying, F it, I'm out with my money, pouring them.
yeah. I'm
It's
about
that
to
easy.
say
I don't got to
it's not
sell
even,
for
it's not
you.
even, it's not even, it's not even because you're getting paid more than you. It's because he
Trying to
can
get paid.
leave.
I can leave, bro. I can
Like
leave right now. Like
you
UNLV,
gotta,
that quarterback who got
yeah,
promised some money and they didn't give it. The check didn't clear. So he
yeah.
like, bro, I don't
He
care
was
what I'm
out.
rejected,
He
bro.
said,
I'm
"I'm
cool.
gone."
I'm cool.
I'm not playing.
I'm literally not
Yeah,
playing. Like you
yeah,
niggas told me I was giving me a certain amount of
yeah,
money, and I ain't gonna fake, bro. Like if you ain't even got the league as your end goal, bro, I'm not gonna
yeah,
come out here and get smacked, bro. If y'all not giving me the money that y'all said I was, because now I gotta go
yeah.
make a career for myself. I'm willing to get smacked if I know I got 650,000 to lean back on, and God forbid something dumb happen. But I'm not willing to get out here, and maybe that's not the right mindset, but that's what happens when you get money involved. When you already mentioned, ain't no going back once this money get into this conversation. You know what I'm saying? How for good, for better or worse. So
College sports is professional sports now. Like it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
really the whole amateurism thing is out the window.
Yeah,
Like
and
this is definitely college sports, bro. I mean
what,
professional sport.
whatever side of the fence you on, it's people that could get on here and sell it to this the best thing that's gonna happen in college sports. There's gonna be people that's gonna get in here and sell it that this is the worst thing that ever happened. I'm excited to see where I fall into that though. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited
Yeah,
to see because I know no matter what side of the fence I land on, at the end of the day, I feel like this is good for college sports because we're gonna see better players playing more. We're gonna be seeing less talented players like waiting their turn in a sense. So I think it's exciting from a fan standpoint, just because now I feel like in 5 years, bro, you're gonna turn on Hawaii and see a quarterback throwing the ball in the Hawaii helmet from a talent standpoint that wouldn't have even thought about going to this school 10 years
yeah,
ago. You know what I'm saying? So from a parity standpoint, no matter what game you turn on, these Tuesday games in the middle of the season probably gonna be a lot more exciting here in the next few years than they probably was 10 years ago, in my opinion.
Like what we keep saying, man, the more good teams, the more fan bases stay engaged for longer into the
Yes,
season. It just makes for better matchups, you know. And
man.
at the end of the day, like whether it's the NIL stuff or any of the moving parts in college football or college basketball or college sports in general, what's always most important is the
Always.
games that's being played, you know.
Yep.
So
Nothing's gonna
it's
trump that. Gotta go out
yeah,
there and
like
win.
you know, certain conversations obviously have to be had and things have
Yeah.
to be discussed and whatnot. But when you know, whether it's on the field or on the court or whatever the case, like that's what people tune in for. You know, like if we could have this just the sport without the business, then we would. But ultimately,
Facts.
this is it's a business
Right.
disguised as a sport. You know, so business got to get handled, and then the sport is gonna go on. So, you know, people gonna have they opinions and they think this is bad or this is good for the sport, whatever the case. Like at the end of the day, we won't know until things shake out. You know, these things typically have a way to figure their way out, figure themselves
Yeah.
out, and work out how it's supposed to over time. But in the meantime, man, we just gonna enjoy the sport.
Like you
Enjoy the
said when we was on
bat.
the phone
Yeah, go
earlier,
ahead.
bro. Because when the last drive of the game, a minute left, everything we talked about is an afterthought, bro. I'm locked in to see who's
Yeah,
gonna win this game. That was a good point that you
yeah,
made earlier when we was on the phone.
yeah,
That stuff is out the window, bro. When this ball lined up, even not even at the end of the game, bro. When Michigan Ohio State kick off, well, I don't give a damn about no NIL. I don't care about what the court talking
yeah,
about. I don't care about nothing. We better win this
yeah.
game, bro. Like, and then you kind
When
of helped
it's
me understand that with Bryce Underwood. Like, and after we got off, I
yeah,
was like, that makes sense. Like, I don't care if you're a 5-star. I don't care if you ain't got the best receivers, bro. If you coming out popping it like you say you is, when this ball kick off, that's exactly what I expect to happen, bro. I don't want to hear I don't got
exactly.
because you should have said I didn't have weapons when you was popping it, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that was a good point, and that's why I like doing this type of stuff too, because we could come on with an idea. I talk to you, get off, and it wasn't even like exactly when I realized it. It was I think the day after when I went back and watched it, I was like, oh shit, that's a good point.
nah, he was popping it, bro. Especially he
Then I
like
went back and watched. He
particularly
was popping it.
particularly about Ohio State, and he knew what that defense was looking like too. So I don't know
Man,
why he was thinking like he was just gonna go shred that
that
defense.
money,
Obviously,
bro,
I
like we
wanted,
just talked, that money could have had him because I can't even act, but
yeah,
that money might have me talking crazy too. I ain't gonna lie. If you pay me $3 bands, I will get on the phone right now and tell Ohio State I'm gonna bust y'all ass when I see y'all.
nah, it ain't
But like,
wrong, but you know,
you don't
you
pro, you
can
gotta
talk
know
all you
where
want.
they on
You can
me.
talk all you want, but when it's time to play, that money don't matter no more. Like we said, it don't matter no more. You gotta go see them, you know. So you know, obviously, I wanted them to win that game, you know, but I'm also realistic. You know, that was a hell of a roster Ohio State had, and I knew Michigan didn't have a roster to really be able to. They hung in there a little bit, but
Went crazy
just
though.
not the roster that we had a few years before, you know, and
Oh,
uh, Ohio State had a hell of a deep roster. So yeah,
yeah, this is good talk, man. I'm finna go get me something to
for
eat.
sure, for
My
sure,
stomach
sure.
is doing yak flips. Goddamn yak flips.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we get out, anything else
You
that you
said you
wanted
got some
to?
Burger King over there.
Oh, this nigga crazy. 10 nuggets for $1. Yeah. During the chicken crisis, we got 10 chicken nuggets for $1 though, but we running low on chickens. Anyway,
Hell.
nah, I'm saying, nigga, how the hell did that make sense? We running low on chickens, but you niggas serving 10 nuggets for $1 on your side of town.
Oh yeah.
That don't
Oh
make sense.
yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying? That's some one of these ain't chicken.
So man, no, for
Oh god,
sure.
somebody had enough. In the comments, I'm pretty sure you guys humbly wasn't a lot of people watching live, but that's the beautiful thing about this because it's still gonna get posted. Another beautiful thing about what we're doing, we don't need the odds right now to fuel what we're doing because we just genuinely love what we're talking about. And over time, if we keep putting in this work, I can't wait to at the end of the season, during the season, to talk to these fans during these lives. They might be able to bring in different, how I just said, change our minds, combat what we're saying, spar with us verbally in a good way, good or bad. Talk a little stuff too, because we not, you know what I'm saying? That's part of sports too. You got to talk a little bit, be able to flex the muscles when it's your time to do so. So appreciate you guys for watching. Let us know in the comments who your team is. Claim your team right now, bro, because what I'm not going for, like I mentioned, is, oh, I been knew they was going to win. No, you didn't, nigga. You
Yeah.
didn't say nothing about that in
Yeah.
August. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm going out there right now. You know what I'm saying? Oklahoma State will make the college football playoff. They will represent the Big 12. Now, what they will do past that point, I talk to God about that. But you know what I'm saying? That's my. If that's a hot take, sure. I got Oklahoma State making the college football playoffs, and I got Drew Messmaker finishing as a top 5 quarterback in collegiate football when the season is over. With anything you got, anything before we hit that end button?
Man, just ready for the season to tip off, man. I still ain't got no sneaky natty pick. I might be tucking that till closer to when the season start. I want to see a little more of what's going on. But
Back?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like you said though, bro, it's not about having all the eyes right now,
Oh, not right now.
because ultimately, we got a vision, and it's not about what the success of it right now. Ultimately we trying to build this. Like we saying, this is Gym Bag Incorporated, and
Oh,
we running a tight ship over here, and
Rome
you
wasn't
know,
built overnight.
nah, not at all.
Okay.
We're just gonna keep making it happen. So
God damn.
yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in, whether it's later or whatever the case, and we will catch y'all on the next one.
Appreciate it, man. We out. Oh, goddamn.